Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, this is the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk about movies, TV, geek stuff, news, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfucker! With Nary Signs, you know the question is not on here that I could have said yes to would have been a cock ring. I'm like, oh, I've done that. Jeff,
It was called Bibbidi Bobbidi Doorknob.
Stephanie.
The only reason he was invited was because he was dating my friend. It was like a pity invite. And he was like one of the first people to get there. What a loser.
And we have Missy
Yes, I'm here.
is also here.
Oh, Missy is also here. Girl has no last name.
Not anymore, am I right? Huh? And special correspondence with Steph Mayer Sr.
Yeah, I don't have to look cute for you.
And this is the What's Up Bro podcast.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
All right, and we're recording. All right, welcome to the second half of our top 10 movies of 2018. This is a 7th annual episode. We usually, in the last few years, have done a two-parter, so no surprise here. This is the second half of the top 5 picks of the top 10 movies of the year of 2018.
Taking a deuce.
I am Nary Science. Hopefully you've listened to the first episode, which was picks 10 through 6. I am Nary Science. With me as usual is Jeff.
Hola.
And Stephanie.
What's up?
And Missy.
Hi.
And we're here to talk about our top 5 picks. Again, this is a two-parter, so hopefully you listen to picks 10 through 6.
Right.
And that's basically what we're going to start off.
And there will be spoilers.
Yes, there will be spoilers.
I was
And
going to
Brock.
say, do we want to give a recap of...
Sure, I mean...
Like the...
All right, we could all go through our own recaps because I didn't write down everybody's.
Oh, okay, no,
Yeah.
then never mind.
No, just go through your own recap.
Oh, okay.
All right, we
Go
could go through. Missy, what was your top 10 through 6?
So my top 10, my 10 was To All the Boys I've Loved Before. My 9 was Love, Simon. My number 8 was Infinity War. Number 7 was A Quiet Place. Number 6, Like Father.
My number 10 was Ready Player One. My number 9 is Ralph Breaks the Internet. My number 8 is A Simple Favor. My number 7 is Black Panther. And my number 6 is The Gospel According to Andre.
My number 10 was Teen Titans Go to the Movies. My number 9 was Halloween. My number 8 was Love, Simon. My number 7 was Funko, The Making of Fun. Number 6 was Avengers Infinity War.
My number 10 was Smallfoot, which narrowly beat out somebody else. So another movie we'll talk about later. And number 9 was Equalizer 2. Number 8 was Red Sparrow. Number 7 was Venom. And number 6 was Aquaman. All right, so
Missy number 5.
So my number 5 is the first of 2 documentaries that are on my list. It's called Believer. It was...
Is it Imagine Dragons documentary?
It is, actually.
It is! Holy shit! Oh my god!
It's not White Boy Rock.
Wow! I was
is.
just mocking her because she's such an Imagine Dragon fan. I had no fucking idea that this was a documentary.
I was hoping she was going to
but-
know it's the monkeys.
Oh my god.
No.
Same.
Not same.
White Boy Rock.
Yeah, well, same shit.
Well, so Believer is so Dan Reynolds.
I can't believe I was right. Holy shit.
I thought you knew.
No, I swear to God, I didn't.
Okay. Well, Believer is.
This is the second one, right? I did in the top 10 through 6. I said something else. I took a stab in the dark, and I was fucking right about that.
You did, and I don't remember what
I
it
don't
was.
remember what it was, but
it was so long ago.
It was like an hour.
It feels like a week ago, right, guys? So Dan Reynolds is the lead singer of Imagine Dragons. He is Mormon.
How many people are in the band?
I think there's 4.
Okay.
I don't know their other people's names, but so Dan Reynolds is
Kind of like
Mormon.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, lead singers are the only ones that matter.
No. Oh, really? Because your husband's a fucking guitar player.
That's the joke.
A
Thanks.
bassist, yeah. Not even a guitar player. He's a bassist. There's guitar and then there's bassist.
Okay, can I get through the fucking
not wrong.
documentary?
I mean, but he plays
Jesus.
guitar, honey. Not
Yeah,
he's
but
a-
doesn't he play the bass?
no.
Oh, I thought he played the bass.
No.
He doesn't
Oh.
slap the bass.
No,
Oh.
he does not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
He is
slapped-
on the other level.
I Imagine Dragons lost me when they weren't actual dragons.
Yeah.
So Dan Reynolds was born and raised into Mormonism.
In Utah?
And yes, and so this documentary basically covers the fact that in Mormonism, if you come out as gay, so a lot of religions like turn their nose up to homosexuality, but Mormonism, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but from what I gathered, is one of the very few religions that will outright shun you, and not just like the community shuns you, but you're not allowed to worship. You can't even go to church. You can't even go to service, and because
So it's like Dwight from The Office, like shun. Unshun, shun.
Right. So then
There's no unshun here.
except because of this, the statistics are coming out that a large proportion of people are killing themselves because
They have nowhere to go.
they have nowhere to go, and Mormonism is like hardcore.
Yeah.
Like it's in your fucking bone marrow. So what he's trying to do, or this documentary covers, is this music festival that he's putting on. The first
he
this
gay?
is the first year. No, he's married.
Oh, okay. That's not what I
And
asked.
has
mean-
like
yeah, that doesn't mean he's
he's
gay.
not gay. I guess I don't know.
He's married
I didn't know.
I mean, I don't know him. Let
didn't-
me
no, but
text him.
No, because he asked you, is he gay? And you said, no, he's married.
To
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
to their point, Brandon Flowers from Panic at the Disco is married to a woman, but he's pansexual. So it doesn't necessarily mean
White Bird
anything.
Rock, same shit. We get it. It's awesome.
Okay, so then this documentary, what it covers is Dan Reynolds is trying to put together the first Loud Fest or Love Fest is what it's called, and it's just an invitation for I think he the first year was in Salt Lake City, Utah, that has
Yeah, it's
like
Mormon
ridiculous.
USA.
Yeah, it's like in the 90 percentile of Mormonism in that city, and so he's just trying to put together this festival from scratch by himself with the help of a few other people, but it's not something that the church is supporting. And so you just watch, it's basically like an exploration into the culture of Mormonism, what happens when they shun you.
But my question is, my question of asking if he's gay is because if he's not gay, why would you?
Why is he championing
Yeah,
this?
why are you bringing not him, but why are you bringing up the fact? I haven't seen the documentary, so why is the documentary focusing on this aspect of Mormonism as far as homosexuality when the focus of it isn't it the lead singer of this band that's not gay? So
it's about this. It's about the fact that it's about him trying to put on this music festival, and he's trying to provide some kind of safe space for people who are out and shunned.
Okay.
And Mormons.
Is he Mormon?
Yeah, he
Okay.
was born and raised in Mormonism. He did the 2-year service thing. He fell in love with somebody who's not Mormon. She converted to marry him. So he's had issues. He's always I think, and what I gathered from the documentary is that he's always had an issue with taking a stance for Mormonism, like as a blanket statement, and not really exploring like some of it is fucked up, which it is. So he is trying to put together this music festival, and then as a byproduct, he speaks to a lot of people that are involved in like the outreach for suicide prevention, especially in Mormonism. And it was just very impactful to me, because I felt like it takes a lot of balls for somebody who's that indoctrinated to raise her hand and be like, this is fucked up.
Right.
Like, and
he's
people
risking
are
himself.
Right.
and people are fucking dying. Like, that's the staggering, like, shocking thing about that I gathered from this documentary, is that they're shunned to such an extent that in mass numbers, people are just quitting. They're just killing themselves. And so, it calls into that like forever argument, like, can you really call yourself a Christian or a follower of this religion if you're perpetuating statistics that the people are killing themselves? Like, it's just it's ridiculous. So, and then I was just very impressed.
If it's a very light and
it's like something. It's like a first date movie.
It's
a first date movie.
Jesus.
It did really well. I think it got nominated for a few things, and I don't know off the top of my head what it got nominated for. It was an HBO documentary, and I recommend it just because it was just very insightful. And I have this very like aloof thought that's always running through my head when I'm watching the news or I'm hearing about fucked up things, like, what are we doing to each other? And I got like that was a very big, but it ends on a very hopeful note, because he ends up pulling off there's back and forth, I think over a course of a couple of months, and he ends up pulling it off, and it's a fucking fantastic music festival. And people from all like hardcore Mormons and gay Mormons and
Right.
atheists. Like it's just a giant crowd, just people enjoying music, and that it was really impactful. So that's my number 5.
It won Best Documentary at the Miami Film Festival.
I knew it won something.
And it won Documentary of the Year at Hollywood Film Awards. And it was a nominee for Outstanding Editing at the Hollywood Post Alliance.
And this documentary covers the first year, and he did it again last year. So it's like a thing he's coming back to
I don't think
every
it's come in for Emmy cycle yet. So it's because it aired on HBO, we'll probably get nominated for Emmys if that's the case.
All right, so all right, that's your number 5.
Yeah, a great first date movie.
Great, fun, summer fun.
Yeah,
2 thumbs up.
lighthearted, and 2 Kleenex boxes out of 3.
So yeah, this sounds like something that a simple favor could take some notes of. Just lose the comedy, stick with the
With the drama.
Gotcha.
for your mama.
My number 5
For
is,
your Mormon mama. Sorry.
my number 5 is Love, Simon.
Okay.
so we can talk about
So we can
that.
talk about it now.
Word. It was my number 9.
I saw this movie on a plane with Missy. I had intentions to watch it when it came out, and it just didn't happen. So then finally, when we were on our flight to California in September, I was just browsing through movies as one does, and I was like, oh, love, like I had like a list of like a couple things I wanted to see, and she's like, oh, let's watch Love, Simon. And I told her, okay, fine, watch it with me. So we put it on at the same time, like with our headphones, like dumbasses, and we were watching it.
I'm not a dumbass. Speak for yourself.
Well, you are, but not about this. It's just different.
It's basically about a kid who blogs anonymously, and
Nothing right now.
we're actually agreeing. So, about how, and then he basically confesses his love and comes out on this blog, and it gets leaked.
Gay love.
Right.
Is it a blog or is he like pen paling with
Yeah,
somebody?
he's pen.
Oh, you're right. He is pen pal. You're
It's a
right.
voiceover,
It's
so
emails.
it feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a
Sorry.
blog, yeah.
But and then he gets outed not through his own control, and it's just like the repercussions of what happens and how he deals with it with his friends and with his parents, and I loved this movie so much. I know you were getting on me for like the mommy thing, like that.
Well,
I didn't cry with the dad scene.
No, it's not about the mommy thing. For me, it's always that to the listener, there's an ongoing thing with Stephanie where she gets very emotional when it's mother,
with anything mother,
anything any kind of whenever they go towards that
right.
storyline, it's the mother, such as the movie Brave and so on, but the same effect doesn't happen when it's for the dad thing. And
Right.
your logic, and I use that
My
phrase
logic
very
is
loosely. I'm
because-
living fast and loose with this phrase called logic.
My logic is because I don't really have. I get along. My dad and I are like thick as thieves. We get along really well.
Yeah, but that to me
I
is
have a lot of issues with my mom, and we've never gotten along since I was a kid, and it makes me long for that when I see a good relationship with a mother and daughter, or a mother,
which makes sense why you get emotional
So-
when you see a mother scene, when you see a scene with a mother. It does not explain why you don't get emotional with your
I'm
dad
not
thing,
saying
because-
that I don't
No,
like
you've
it.
said
I
that.
like it,
You've
but it
said
doesn't make
that.
me like. It doesn't give me the
You don't get
longing.
emotional, right.
Because it doesn't give me the longing because I have that with my dad. So it doesn't really give me that same feeling. I like them. It's beautiful. That's sure, but it's Missy the whole time was like, oh, wait for his dad, and I was just like, oh, it was a nice scene, but I didn't like get how it was. Remember, I also have. Like,
I was watching you to see if I was actually going to see you cry, but it wasn't like a boohoo cry.
I especially have I have not a big issue, but I have a lot of sympathy for people who feel like they need to repress themselves, and the gay community suffers from this a lot. I also have a lot of to be outed before you're ready is like a huge, like it's terrible, and whenever
unless you're Kevin Spacey.
right,
there is an exception to every rule. There really fucking is.
So to be outed before you're ready is traumatizing for people that have suffered through that, and I have friends of mine that were outed before they were ready, outside of their own control, and I've heard horror stories about what it does to your psyche and whatever, and I loved this movie. I can't say enough good things about it.
So I love this movie for the same reasons, but also I have two cousins who are gay, and I unfortunately, because we live in different countries, we didn't have I wasn't there to kind of support them through their journey when they're trying to figure this out and come out. And they live in another country where they're not as, I mean, I know that this country isn't perfect, but we have like advanced as far as like open-minded and stuff like that. But they live in a country like in Chile, like you could get murdered for being gay and your murder won't go to jail. Like the stakes are a little bit more dangerous than the climate that we're in right now. So my heart just broke in half, into a million pieces, thinking about what they've been through and how, like, I guess I was like projecting, through the movie, because I desperately wanted to like be there with them when they were going through this, because this just has to be horrendous to kind of struggle with who you are and the repercussions of doing that. Like, you can't help but be who you are,
of course. Yeah.
And then it was a great movie. I think it was, and for me, it was also like, I like that it was set in high school, but it wasn't like a cliche high school movie.
Right.
I think that the subject matter was a little bit flew a little bit I guess flew over it a little bit more, and that I didn't feel like it was that much of a cliche high school movie. So it was my number 9, just because because of everything I said about the other movies.
Yeah,
but I love this movie so much.
It was my number 8. Everything you guys said, I love, because Josh Duhamel's his dad, and Jennifer Garner's his mom, and their relationship and figuring out what's going on, and the acceptance that they both had. And Josh Duhamel's character is like the typical machismo dad that's like,
former
I want him to
star.
But one of the parts I loved was when he starts getting this anonymous message back, and throughout the movie he's trying to figure out who this person is. And it's like, oh, it could be so and so. I mean, they do this and they do that and blah blah blah. And it's that whole little like kind of whodunit thing is something that was really cool in it too. I thought it had a great message. That it was a great movie. I like the moment I finished it, I was like, this is on my top 10.
Yeah.
There's also a dance number in this movie, which is great. So I'm always appreciative of a dance number.
Okay.
There you go. That's what
Go ahead, Neri.
What? I didn't say anything.
You have a face.
This is one of the few movies that I have on my win column.
That is true. Missy forced me to watch this movie.
I forced no one to do anything.
You forced me to watch
Just because
this movie.
nagging works doesn't mean that I forced you to do anything.
This is one of the few movies that Missy has forced me to watch that I actually ended up liking.
Correct.
Because every other movie she forced me
It's so
to
bad
watch
that I've stopped recommending. I mean, you could watch it, but if you don't like it, it doesn't count against, because I'm not recommending. That's how bad I've lost.
So I will say that I absolutely loved, and I mean absolutely fucking loved, the last third of this movie. The first 2/3 of this movie was just meh city to me.
Not lying.
It was just.
I got a play-by-play of that bitch. She was like, "What is?" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up and watch
she
it."
literally told me stop watching. I'm like, I've already watched an hour. I'm already invested. I can't fucking go. I can't do this anymore. I mean, but I just didn't. It's like 98% or something on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a crazy high fucking Rotten Tomato score, and it came so highly recommended. 92, and it came so highly recommended / nagged by Missy that I was expecting this movie to be great throughout the whole thing. In the first, like, I was texting her like, I don't get it. It's a okay movie. It's cute, maybe meh, and I think it was same thing I said about Simple Plan. It suffered from this identity crisis where it wanted to be this for the first 2/3 of the movie was a cutesy garden variety teen coming of age movie, and I'm like, who gives a like? I'm like, this is just like, I don't see the big fucking deal. I don't give a shit about this. And then the drama came in, and then that's when I was like, oh shit, this movie is fucking. I literally texted her. I'm like, okay, so something dramatic just happened. I'm like, and I texted her.
You didn't say it. It's been long enough, and I did say there would be spoilers.
Yeah, but I don't even remember what was the one scene specifically.
When the kid blackmails him.
Was it that?
Yeah.
I'm asking.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember what scene it was specifically that happened in the movie that I was like, is it fucked up with me that I think that I'm loving the drama? And then I thought it was just gonna be like 5 minutes of that drama and then go back to the quirky
Right.
little fucking teen coming of age movie, and then it turned into this real social issue. And I'm like, no, this is the movie that it should have been from the beginning. And I think if it would have been that movie from the beginning, it definitely would have made my top 10 list. It's a great, I absolutely fucking adore the last third of this movie. I think it was fan-fucking-tastic. There are things that I liked about the first 2/3, but it didn't stand out to me as an actual great movie until the drama hit, until the social commentary hit about everything else. I do like the fact that he was trying to play a whodunit, like you know what I mean, like Jeff said. But what to me, what bothered me about that is that it felt like it could be anybody, and he's okay with it being anybody. And that to me is kind of cheapens the connection that they had. I just felt like I was like, don't you want it to be one person though? Like you should want it to be one. Like if he had a crush on one guy, that would have been to me. Oh, and it ended up being the guy that he had a crush on. It kind of felt like it kind of cheapened it. And I know what they're trying to say, that love comes in various shapes and sizes and but I just felt like I would have preferred it for him to, like, it felt like it cheapened the outcome. Because when he thought it was, one guy, and then it's not him, so he went through like 3 or 4 other guys, and then it turns out to be the front, the second guy, and it's like, oh great, I'm like, but you were ready to be fucking happy-go-lucky with anybody, with any one of those guys. Like now it's like it kind of cheapened it.
Pen pal relationship.
I get it, but I just but
he was just happy that he wasn't alone.
Right.
Absolutely, that's what I think, and I think it cheapened the fact that it could have been anybody. I think if you just made it like, this is the guy that I'm supposed to be with, it has to be him. You know what I mean? I get cinematically, I like what they did, where, you know what I mean, they put the words that was sent in the email to various different voices. But I just didn't. The first 2/3 of the movie I thought was very meh, very okay, not bad, not seeing anything negative. But the second third of that, the last third of that movie is fucking fantastic. I mean, I loved. I told her, I was like, holy shit! I got my fucking eyes were glued to the iPad. I was like, this is it. This is amazing. Yeah. But I just wish that it would have been like that the whole movie. I think it suffered from identity crisis.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
Yeah. Jeffrey?
My number 5 is First Man,
Fantastic.
which I saw
an hour ago.
So very recent, Missy, to your question from episode 1. Basically, it's a partial biopic of Neil Armstrong.
I think it's an entire biopic of Neil Armstrong.
If you look online, a lot of people consider it a partial because it's based off of a book that a guy wrote, but it's not an official biography.
Oh, okay.
But it's basically follows
I watched
Neil
this
Armstrong.
movie today too. By the way, was it today or yesterday?
No, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I think you told me yesterday.
No, I think
it was today.
It was today. It's been a long day. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's basically just following Neil Armstrong from when he's an engineer, working with it. He's doing planes, right?
Yeah.
And
but it's plane, but I think it's like the Navy or the Air Force or one of them.
But it's I never realized how much loss he went through. You get super attached to Neil Armstrong, and
he's a bit of a dick, but super understandably why.
But he's a bit of a dick, but I think he suffers from he's very and apparently Ryan Gosling he was told by Neil Armstrong's 2 surviving kids that's the closest portrayal of Neil and his wife that anybody's ever done.
Yeah.
He was very introverted.
I think it's a product of the time that he's from, where men didn't talk about their feelings. And it's kind of like one of those things where, like, he has a child that dies at a very young age.
At a very young age.
And a very young age.
And he was trying to he kept journals of tracking the experimental the stuff they were doing to see what was working, what may have not been working, what to try next. This movie just it's a slow burn throughout, but you get so attached to his character because of he lost comrades, friends, people. When he starts working for NASA, he gets moved to the to the neighborhood where all the astronauts' wives live, like where all the astronauts live, and one of his best friends who lives across the street dies in a test. And spoiler alert, they get to the moon at the end.
What?
But
That's more like a history spoiler alert,
Yeah.
not really the movie.
But even what they did with that, like
That was beautiful.
cinematically, like when they open up the hatch to get onto the moon, it goes silent, and they're still doing things, and they're still doing stuff, and you don't hear a sound because they've put you in the vacuum of space.
It's fucking.
And it's amazing how they do it. They it's just beautifully done. Like there was a point where Christy and I were watching it where they're it's not even like a violent scene. They're just moving through the ship, and the camera's rotating. So you feel like you're on the ship with them, and you're in anti-gravity, and you're spinning around. That Christy looked at me, and she's like, "I'm getting dizzy." Like if I would have seen this in the theater, I feel like I'm up there with them. And it's just a really. It left an impact on
There
me.
was a beautiful shot of when they got spun around and they turned all the lights off, and Neo had to do math to get them where he thought they were, where he thought they were facing.
Yeah.
And he had to do math to figure out like and so they turn off all the lights. He does the math, and I love the fact that they're asking him questions, and he's like, "I need you to do this," and he goes, "I can't. I'm busy right now." Like he literally tells Houston, he tells his partner next to him, he's like, leave me alone. I just don't talk to me right now. I'm not. And he doesn't say it so bluntly, but that's the essence of what he does. But then he turns off the lights, and then the whole thing is black. They're both looking out the window, and there's this tension that's like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck? And then you see that light from the sun hitting the earth, and you go, and it's such a fucking beautiful scene that I'm like, wow, that's fucking great. And that smile that they both have of relief, I'm like, oh fuck, thank God we're not drifting out into space. Like it was fantastic.
Yeah, there's one shot right before he launches that he's looking out the window and he sees the moon through the tiny little porthole, and he just sees the moon. And during the whole thing, everybody's prepping, people are talking, and he's just staring at that, and he's just looking like his goal is he's gonna get there. And his wife in the movie is phenomenal. The lady that played Jane Armstrong, like her, what she has to go through, what she has to. There's a point where he's packing to leave for NASA, and she's like, "No, you're gonna tell your kids that you may not make it back." I'm not going to do that. You're not putting that on me. And they get into an argument over it. So he leaves,
Claire
and
Foy.
they've been arguing about
It's
it.
like, who is it?
Yeah, from The Crown. And it's just a cool. I really, really enjoyed it. And you know what's going to happen. You know that they make it. You're still tense.
Right.
Like there's a point, the approach when they're getting to the moon, it's tense. You
Super
know they're
tense.
going to land.
I felt the same way. Yeah, I felt the same way. I made the joke, and it was true. Watching the movie Lincoln, the Steven Spielberg movie a few years ago, where they build the tension of whether or not they're going to pass the law to abolish slavery, and it's like people keeping count, whatever, and they build the tension so well that at the end of that long scene of the Congress voting, I was like, well, what happens? Like, I'm that guy. Like, I fucking know what happens, asshole. They fucking abolish slavery. But I'm like, well, don't keep us in the fucking dark. Tell us what happened.
Are you going to share with the rest of the class?
And that's how I felt watching this movie. You know they're going to make it, but you're like, oh, man, I wonder what's going to happen. Yeah. Like, no, I fucking, but that's how great the movie is, that it takes you out of your own head and puts you into the movie where it's great. I love this movie. I liked it a lot, man. I thought it was fantastic. It was such a great character piece because it didn't sugarcoat what Neo was.
Right.
Like, yes, he is an American hero, and yes, but he is much more than that. He's a man, he's a father, a flawed man, a flawed father,
Yeah.
a flawed
Ambitious.
a flawed husband, and he's, you know what I mean? Like, he's a man of little words. Like, he wasn't the great, he wasn't really great at to getting the public to go, because the public was against this. Like, it was spending millions of dollars, billions of dollars on this program, and they would try to send him, NASA was trying to send him out there to like get interviewed, and while other astronauts were very amicable and were very funny and would be able to get the press on their side, he was very like, we think the mission is going to go well. We have expectations. Like, he was very dry, and he just wasn't. That wasn't him. He wasn't a marketer. He was great at what he does, but what he does is very specific.
Yeah, like they ask him. They were joking with the astronauts, and they're like, "What if you could take one extra thing? What would it be?" And they're like joking. Buzz Aldrin's joking this, and then they go, "Well, Neil, what about you?" He's like, "More fuel," and he just looks down, and they're like, "All right, well," but there's one more thing about it. When he's on the moon, there's this beautiful shot of him And he has a gold visor, so you don't see his face while he's on the moon. And he lifts it because it's the sun visor. He lifts it up, and I'm getting a little emotional from it. You see him looking around, and he's taking it all in, and it flashes back to him with his daughter who died, like them in a meadow, and them playing and looking up at the sky.
Did it actually happen, or was just something like he was? Like, is it a memory or
it's
just
memories.
like a hope?
He's going through his memories, then he goes back to it because the loss of his daughter like weighed on him forever. That when she died, he kept this like bracelet of hers.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Oh,
don't ruin that. What's wrong with you, dude? Don't do that.
But anyway, they do flashbacks.
Put it next to the peen drawing.
But they do flashbacks of and it shows back to the moon and him looking at something else. Then it goes back to another flashback of him. It's really I liked it. I liked it a lot.
This movie got a lot of controversy before it even came out about there not being a flag planting scene. So a lot of like Americans, a lot of like, this is a fucking scene that deserves to be. And I had a friend of mine who is uber fucking, pro this administration, the current administration. He was like, can you believe this fucking pussification is snowflakes? I'm like, dude, I don't. He's like, what do you think? He's like, what? And I'm like, I haven't seen the movie. Hadn't even come out. I was like, the movie hasn't come out. I don't know. And he's like, but you think that's right? That shouldn't there be a scene? I'm like, I haven't seen the fucking movie. Like, how can you judge something that you haven't seen? I don't understand. Now, granted, I was just saying that because he was a fan of the administration and I'm not. So I was just like, I'm not going to give in to you. I'm not going to tell you. But personally...
Like Justin Timberlake's album.
Exactly. But personally, in my head, I did think, that's a little fucking weird. I think there should be a fucking scene of them flag planting. But when you watch this movie, it's not about...
The mission. It's not about him.
It's not about the arms. It's not about the race between the U.S. and the Soviets. It's not about that. It's not a like, oh hoorah America, blah blah. It's about Neil Armstrong. Like it's not even
it's
like
called First Man.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
God, Christ's sake.
yeah. It's like, and I think it does a fantastic job. One thing that is. I completely understand. Like, this is where we talked about in the previous episode, the 10 through 6, where we talked about there are some movies that had, this year's movies are great because they had a variety of different minorities and different, representation of different people. This movie didn't have that. But right. It's because
of the time.
It's because it was it's you know what I mean. It's a historical piece. Like it'd be really weird if they cast Buzz Aldrin as an Asian dude. That'd be really fucking weird. It's like, well, Asians are in now. Put it fucking in. Like it's not.
But he was a super villain.
Now.
What?
But he was a super villain.
Yeah, he was.
It's the bad guy from Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen either of them.
Buzz Aldrin.
Okay.
Now. And to tag on to what he said, there is a shot of the orbiter with the flag planted next to it. They just don't show them planting it.
Yeah, because it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about his personal journey. It's about his personal journey. To be honest with you, I didn't even see the flag.
From the first, Yellow Jacket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But to be honest with you, I didn't even see the flag. But
Sorry,
I didn't care about it. Like to me, what he did up there was much more special than a flag.
In fact, there was more focus on his footprint when he first puts his footprint than the flag.
Yeah.
The flag, that's why he couldn't see it. It was literally like that big in the screen.
3-hour movie?
No, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
2 hours and 20.
So it's an Aquaman.
Yeah.
But not as good as effects. But
yeah, so that's my number 5.
It's a freaking great pick. I love that movie. I mean, it was great. I saw it today and I was like, this is fucking deep. This is good.
You had like a little rant.
I did.
I like that. I support
so
it.
what's your number 5?
My number 5 is gonna get tabled. Christopher Robin.
Table.
You're welcome, BFF. Thanks. Number 4, Missy.
So my number 4 is another documentary, not quite as harsh as my number 5. It's Songwriter. It's
by Imagine Dragons.
No. Ed Sheeran.
They put out 2 documentaries this year.
I hate this room.
It's by Panic at the Disco.
That's White Boy Rock. Stop. Missy doesn't listen to White Boy Rock.
It's about Panic at the Disco.
I fucked up, okay? I've said it 47 different ways.
It's about
my
Panic
ass.
at the Disco writing songs about Imagine Dragons.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Songwriter is picks up at the end of Ed Sheeran's tour, not the last album, but Multiply, not Divide, and picks up basically just the creative process behind putting together the album of Divide. And what I liked about this documentary is that it gave you like a seat at the table for his process, which is something that I like, his creative process, which is something that I really gravitated towards this year, I think, and stuff that really like I really enjoyed. And I just really enjoyed the watching the process. It was kind of comforting to see that how frustrated he gets at certain points. And at some point during the documentary, he goes and visits I think his high school where he graduated, and he's talking to some the kids that are in choir and you know, musicians, and he's talking to them about the songwriting process, which I can't write songs. I wish I could, but I can't. But I do write, and it is a fucking frustrating process to try and get like the right words. And he made this, like, I'm not gonna get it word for word, but he made this analogy where he's like, you know, you go into a faucet, you open it for the first time.
Can I try to help you with it?
Sure.
You're already messing it up.
I said I wasn't gonna get it right.
I'm just trying to help you out. He said the songwriting process is equivalent to when you go to a house that's been left alone, vacant or whatever for years, and you turn the faucet on, and that first water that comes out is super black and gunky and disgusting and gross. That's what it is to first start writing
like
songs.
A first draft.
Your first songs is all that. So he said that he wrote a song a day for months, and they were all shit. They were all just gunk and just disgusting and gross. And then you get that spatter of like clean water, and like that's a good song. And he's like, or that's a part of a good song. But then you get more gunk, and he's like, and then there's more shit. But you have to get through that shit. You have to get all that nasty gunk out to get to the clean water. So you have to write. He goes, keep writing, never stop writing. Even when you're writing, even when you know it's a bad song, finish that bad song, because if you don't, the next song is gonna start with that nasty gunk that you had. And that analogy that's my favorite part of that fucking.
Great,
that's my favorite part of the documentary.
If you like, I follow writers on social media, and I read books about this kind of stuff, and that's the consistent message that everyone always has. Even like Ernest Hemingway, it's been quoted that way. Just fucking write, because it's like, out of 100 shit pieces, that one is the one that you're gonna be really proud of. And I've had a very like minor, like nowhere near successful experience with that, where there was a piece that I wrote last year for my blog that it took me fucking months, and it was shit because I didn't know what I was trying to say. And by the time that I actually posted it, and this was actually happened before I watched the documentary, so it was like very like reassuring. But by the time that I actually posted it and I shared it with people, because I don't typically share my writing because it scares the shit out of me, but this post I did, I'm fucking proud of that, because now I know that it was fucking mud for like months, and I turned that into fucking clay. So I really enjoyed the fact that, you know, you got, and this is like a real, it's not like a fictional seat at the table where you're watching, like, this is for real. This guy fucking is a superstar.
He was at one point writing 3 different songs. He would go to a house. They would rent a whole house, right?
Yeah, and each room was
like, so he would literally be in the pool house writing one song. Take a break from that, go out 20 feet out the door where him and other
on a patio,
a guitar player, they're writing a different song, and then he would go into the master bedroom and they're writing a third. So, like, he would literally be bouncing back and forth. Like, all right, so he would, okay, play with that a little bit, and then I'll be back, and it's phenomenal.
The really thing cool. is that, you know,
he's very talented.
I love him.
I romanticize the process of writing a lot, because what you get is like the fucking final product, but you don't really get to sit and watch the process leading into that. And Divide was one of the biggest albums for like 2 or 3 years.
We went to that show, and that show I was so impressed with that show. It was
that's my favorite. I love that album.
That album is fantastic.
I love that. I love all his music, and out of all his music, that album is by far the best. I think it's the best.
He doesn't have a band.
Yeah, he doesn't have a band. Like, that's something I was so impressed impressed with that concert is that it's him and his fucking guitar the entire no backup dancers, no drummer, nothing. It's him and he's on the stage, and you're like, you would think that after like 4 or 5 songs you'd be like, okay, like can you bring out a drum solo or something, and it does not happen. So he's like, without a doubt, he knows what he's doing when it comes to creating. But this documentary really, like, literally brought you into the fucking house, to each room where he was creating, and I just really enjoyed it. And it was very, like, as somebody who considers themselves like a writer, it was a very, like, encouraging, is the right word, documentary. So recommend it.
Yeah. Who recommended that to you, DFF?
Mic is broken.
Just hang on.
What? Fucking asshole, man.
He's
always right. It's fucking frustrating as fuck. Everything he's recommended to me I've liked, and I keep fucking losing that I just stopped recommending things. Motherfucker. Anyway.
Okay, so my number 4 is Green Book.
That's my number 4.
I saw it this week.
Oh my god, this movie was the best acting I've seen this year is in this movie.
Did you see Aquaman?
My finals love Simon. Oh, I'm glad you said that with a straight face. Like, you got through it.
See?
So it's basically the story of Doc Shirley, who was this famous jazz pianist, wants to go on a tour of the South, and he hires this guy to be his driver.
Tony Lip
to be his driver, who basically loses his job because the club that he works for as works the door for is going to be shut down for like a couple of months to be renovated. He doesn't lose his job, he's just temporarily out of work. So he just needs something to pay the bills, and it's right before Christmas. So he gets hired to go with,
which, by the way, awful timing in the club to renovate 2 months before Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Well, whatever. It's not like people are going out to the fucking clubs and during the holidays. Jesus. Management at Copacabana, get your shit together. In 1967, get your shit together. Right.
I think 1967 had a lot of problems. And I don't think that was one of them. So but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the main issue.
The whole movie is these 2 guys. It's Marshala Ali and Viggo Mortensen.
Marshala Ali is of Moonlight fame.
Right, of Moonlight fame. He's also in este tipo in not Black Panther, Luke Cage. Right.
Yeah, he's Cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth, yeah.
Oh, I know. I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
I saw it this week. I told you the movies that I saw this week. That was one of the 4 that I saw this week.
Oh,
So-
that's right. Yeah.
So it's basically them just driving through the deep South, and he's going and performing, and all these like rich white people are hiring this black prodigy musician, because he's a great musician, and Marshala Ali learned how to play piano for this role, and with this white guy working for him. So it's the juxtaposition.
Blue collar white guy.
Yeah, a blue collar white guy working for him. So it's like the juxtaposition of this very wealthy, talented black musician that hired a white guy, which is not something that was seen often in that time period. And but even so, he says that he's well respected in the places where he should be well respected, but he purposely took this tour in the South to become well respected there. But he's kind of hired by these people, and he's still kind of like the butt of the joke. Right. It's like a novelty to them, they feel
cultured,
right? They feel cultured because they hired this this like very famous pianist or whatever. For me, what makes this movie incredible for me is the acting. I'm not a Viggo Mortensen fan.
Excuse me.
I don't.
He's the king. You bow down to the king.
That's right. And he does wonderful things with stairs.
Yeah, no, that seems super rapey. Sorry.
What? How can it be? That's his wife. He can't. Okay.
Dear listener, have you ever felt your blood pressure go from chill to what the fuck?
Just smile.
Oh my god! I watched On the Basis of Sex this week.
It's okay.
Oh my god! I watched On the Basis of Sex
honey,
this
calm
week.
down.
And somebody tells RBG to fucking smile, and in the middle of the movie theater, I go, "What the fuck?" And then he's like, "Calm down." They
didn't tell you to smile.
I'm like, "You don't tell RBG to smile? What the fuck?"
So anyway, for me, what makes this movie is the acting. It was superb. Marshala Ali is
She's so fucking heated.
I am
like
too.
literally
I
heated.
feel-
She like.
so. But I mean, somebody else can talk about it.
Okay, so yeah, it's my number 4. Also, to me, the big thing, the key thing on it is Viggo Mortensen's racist.
Yeah.
And his wife's the one that's a little like she's not really racist. Like there's a whole scene.
She's racing adjacent.
Yeah, like there's a whole scene that like she's got people come that something's broken in the apartment, and Viggo Mortensen comes back from work and he sees like the entire Italian family's there. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, we're keeping her company." And when you look, there's 2 black guys that are doing the repairs. And like she gives him 2 cups of water to drink, like offers him to drink, and Viggo Mortensen sees the cups and throws them away because they used it. So that's the
Missy's
big,
eyes are gonna fall out of her head.
So
right
the
now.
thing with this movie.
I'm going through a lot right now.
So and the reason it's called Green Book is because there was a book called the
Yeah.
Negro Motorist Green Book.
Okay.
That it was a book given to African Americans so that they knew the best places that they should or should not go.
Yeah,
to.
the
safe
places that were
places.
safe for them,
The places
and
that
all
were
the
safe.
like motels that are safe for them,
Right.
are like
Very run down.
Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing, the part that I loved is Viggo Mortensen's teaching. Even though he's racist, he's teaching Dr. Shirley how to be black because
Right.
he doesn't eat
Doesn't eat fried chicken, and
he doesn't listen to like class like
he didn't know who Aretha Franklin.
he didn't know who
No
Aretha
fried
Franklin is.
chicken.
He doesn't know who Aretha Franklin is. He doesn't know he doesn't listen to James Brown. He doesn't
Right.
listen to Little Richard.
Little Richard, yeah,
So
that
he's
was
like,
it.
how do you not know who this is? Look at who this person is. And he says, he's like, he has this I'm better than that mentality because
Right.
he's classical. He's he does that. And they learn from each other. And by the end they've got each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it's based on a true story. But
Is it
Well-
At the end, they land on the moon.
yeah.
wait, is it already like out on digital or it's still in theaters?
No, I think it's out on digital.
No,
No.
Not yet.
no.
Why don't we
Yeah,
get the smirk?
Because there's sites that are available
Have-
to you that
right.
don't.
Oh, right.
But yeah,
The flea market.
I mean, and,
No, it's not the flea market.
The flea market of Netflix. Same
I mean,
fucking
and
thing.
they stayed friends. This was in '62,
Yeah.
and they stayed friends till they both died months apart in 2013.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he completely changes that. His wife even is like shocked at this, and
Oh, one of the things that he does is that his wife asks him to write to her.
oh yeah,
So he starts writing to her, and like this is like a pretty like decently uneducated like Italian dude that can't spell correctly
he's like,
and
we
can't.
ate food,
Right.
It was good.
Yeah,
like that was the
and-
letters he was
and
writing.
Doc Shirley like is helping him write these letters, and it gets to a point where like he can write the letter on his, like the last letter he writes it by himself. He doesn't need his help.
Yeah,
So when Shirley meets his wife, she hugs him and she goes, "Thank you for helping him write the letters." So it's really sweet in that respect. Speaking of like the based on true story stuff, there's a lot of controversy. I've done a little bit of research on this movie. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this because the Shirley family has said that basically everything that was written by Tony Lip's son. Was one of the
Right.
was the co
Right.
scriptwriter on this, but they kind of they said that the fact that they mentioned that he wasn't close with his family, that wasn't true because like the following year after that tour, he was his brother's best man in the wedding.
Okay.
And so and there's a lot of things like the fact that like they were
Which I'm not naysaying his Dr. Shirley's family's word now, but just because he was the best man at the wedding the following year doesn't mean because in the movie Tony Lip is the one that said reach
Yeah.
out to your brother,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
could still
Right.
be the best. That
Oh,
still
yeah.
could be you were
for
estranged
sure,
from your brother.
but that's just one of the things that they
Right.
were like. I saw that they quoted like that his nephew, I think, who was the brother's son, whatever, was quoted saying that he was the best man at my father's wedding, and they came up with this whole thing of like, of course they would portray a white person teaching a black person how to be black, and,
Right.
So there's a little bit of plus then. Viggo Mortensen used the N-word in an interview during press for all this. So there's a little bit of like hubbub about this.
Like his character.
No. Like Viggo Mortensen, the human person
At a junket?
at a
Yeah.
junket, used the N-word.
Yeah.
Not
well,
smart.
again, but if you're using the N word in relation to how the character.
He
That-
didn't. He
context is a lot. Is a
Context
big
does
deal.
matter. Context does matter, and
Not defending him. I'm just
not
saying
defending him either because I don't even think in context you should really use that word. But I think he was referring to just the word in the sense of like that how often it was used. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But just that word was a common word. It wasn't considered. I mean, it was derogatory, but it was a common colloquialism as opposed to now, like you can't say it or whatever. So I loved this movie so much.
Yeah, me too.
I liked the movie a lot. It was one of the 4 movies that I saw this week, and all 4 movies that I saw this week in preparation for this episode, I liked a lot.
Is this the? Oh no, you haven't. This is not on your list.
No, this is not on my list. This is not. None of the 4 movies I saw this week made the list, but they were all really good movies.
I'm like on this cliffhanger trying to figure out what the fuck you bumped.
And so this is a really good movie. So this is a really good movie. I liked it a lot. I did. To me, it left me wanting more. I was like, that's it. I was kind of like. Right when it started picking up steam, not that it was ever dull, but right when it started picking up steam, I was like, I kind of wanted, like, I needed another,
like a montage of them being friends.
Yeah. I needed that. I needed like a few whatever. I needed, I think it was warm and beautiful, and the fact that I loved that Dr. Shirley came back because he was portrayed throughout the whole movie to be a stubborn man in his ways.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that he's turned down the invitation to hang out with his family for Christmas, and then went home and he was by himself, and then he realized he swallowed the pill and he goes, so I love when he went back. I absolutely adored the fact that Viggo Mortensen hugged him. Yeah, because that was the first time they hugged the whole movie, and even though they had become friends, and even though you felt that that friendship bloom, you saw it, you know, like that hug, especially in 67
I think
62
but in the 60s in general,
especially in the 60s, especially with a super Italian, look at me, male macho fucking household, not just him but the whole entire neighborhood is very very macho. That's
they're in the Bronx, I believe.
And to like for him, and so first of all, they're very macho, so that the whole man hugging other men thing is not really
it's not a thing.
And then the fact that he was hugging a black man, and he didn't even think about it. Right. Like he just saw him and he was just so happy to see him at the door.
Right.
I love that fucking scene. I just wanted a little bit more, and it just left me wanting more, and I missed it. I feel like I got cheated out of another montage or a montage of them actual being friends as opposed to the montage of them becoming friends.
See, more for me than the hug was right before that.
Oh, when
he's like, hey, if we leave now, we can make it back so you can be home for Christmas Eve. And then there's a point where he's like, I'm exhausted, I'm falling asleep, I can't keep going. And he goes, I'm going to pull over in the next hotel. And the next shot is Dr. Shirley finally driving.
Yeah.
And Viggo Mortensen in the back.
Out in the back.
Yeah. That's and then the scene that when he defended him against his family, when his family was like, hey, and he calls him an eggplant or whatever, and he goes, don't call him that.
Yeah.
And he says a very strong word, like, don't call him, like, everybody could tell, hey, that he's not fucking around, don't.
Right.
That was, I saw it coming, I knew it was going to happen, but it still wasn't any less when it did happen.
Right.
That was fantastic. So
that's her and my number 4.
Yeah.
All right. My number 4. Hold on a second. My number 4 is Rolf Breaks the Internet.
Cool. Missy hated this movie.
So much.
I don't have anything to say about it yet.
All right. I absolutely love this movie. I bawled like a little fucking girl.
It was amazing.
It was fucking amazing in every sense of the word. The best sequel. No, second best, but best sequel to any. Definitely the best sequel to any Pixar movie this year.
Really, over Cars 2?
No, it wasn't this year, but yeah. But no, I love this movie so much. It was fantastic. I loved the fact that it touched upon themes that were real. These are real themes. These are real, like, when you lose your identity in somebody else, when you think that you need that other person because you're not, because your friendship you think is, that's it, you have nothing else in the world. And I bawled crying when at the end when Ralph said when Penelope said, just because we don't see each other, it doesn't mean we're not best friends. And I was like,
He He hugged him like a human.
He hugged him like a human. And I get like that. To me is I thought about my best friends who I haven't talked to in years. I thought about my best friends who I grew up with my entire life, that ever since I started doing comedy I've talked to less and less every year, that I basically see one day a year, and that's either at a fantasy football draft or at the Super Bowl. Like, it's literally become that. And these are guys that I've hung out with since I was 11 years old, 12 years old, middle school. And I thought about my best friend from high school that we spent every day together for 4 years after school, and we haven't talked. Like, and just, it was very deep to me. It was it hit real close to home. It was funny. The way the internet was portrayed was great. I thought
that I'll agree with.
That I thought it was.
I think it was too unrealistic portrayal of the internet.
David Ulloa literally said that.
No, he said that the portrayal of eBay was not the way that eBay works.
That's not the way eBay works. And I'm like, that's an anime.
That hurt my brain.
Yeah.
I love how, like, the dark web and everything
the
like
pop-ups,
that.
the way pop-ups are. Like, I just
family was fantastic.
I thought it was so great. It was everything. It was, and I look, man, it's gonna be hard pressed.
Is this on your list?
No.
Okay.
You're gonna be hard pressed to try to find somebody who's a bigger fan of the original Ralph movie. But this movie just took it to me to another level, where it was like it's. I was interested. I was like, how are they just gonna show more video games or more pop culture references?
He heard us making fun of him.
Yeah.
Hear your name? Oh, no. Oh, because we're talking about Ralph Breaks the Internet.
And how it's not an accurate portrayal of
The
eBay.
authentic eBay portrayal that they show. But I loved everything about this movie. It was funny. It was super fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everything. I laughed so hard at the end credit scene with him feeding the bunny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife was like, that was part of the trailer. I'm like, I didn't see that. This is to me the first time. So I laughed hard. Like, I was fucking laughing super hard. Embarrassingly hard. Like, people were looking at me like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is hilarious. But I just loved everything about this movie, man. I really.
The princess.
Wait, well, that's what I was gonna. I was about to get into that.
I was leaving that for Stephanie because it's also on her list.
Yeah.
What number is this for you?
This is 9 for me.
Right.
There are two not scenes, because the princess stuff is split up, but there's two, I guess, sequences that really stick out for me. It's the whole subplot with Shank and who's Gal Gadot, and but it starts with the princesses. She goes to ohmydisney.com, which is one of the websites she goes to, and Vanellope, and she gets glitched into the room with all the Disney princesses, or kind of like their backstage dressing area, and they kind of go into this whole thing about like trying to figure out
Cinderella breaking the glass slipper.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it in the trailer, but fuck, it's
that's
still
fucking fantastic. And like, I've gone and like looked back at each one, and like they're each like even like little shit that you don't even realize. Like Aurora picks up the spindle, Pocahontas has her staff.
Something?
Jasmine, fuck you.
She's not napping the whole time.
So she actually does something.
What else is off?
What a plot
It's
twist.
hilarious. Jasmine has the lamp. Like, it's really cute. And then Cinderella starts admiring what Vanellope's
That's
wearing.
the one scene where they go, did you do all the work and a man
Right.
get all the credit?
Yeah.
And she's like, you are a princess. And I'm like, shut up, Sleeping Beauty. You fucking don't have a fucking leg to stand on in this conversation. You sit your ass down and go back to sleep.
So
A man literally did everything for you.
Yeah.
So Cinderella starts admiring her clothes, and they show the princesses in like the comfy sweats, and they tell her that when Vanellope's trying to like find her purpose, or find what's gonna make her happy, they tell her that to try to sing by looking into a body of water.
Yeah.
So then
Like any body of water?
Any body of water.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
so
matter.
great.
It has to be. And Moana tells her it has to be important water. And
Okay.
so then they a couple of scenes later, she's in like Shank's video game.
I love how they do, what's her name from Brave? And
that she has
Merida.
the accent and nobody can understand her.
And they literally go, and they go, she's from the other studio.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking classic.
Yeah, that was great. And then so we're in Shank's video game, or Shank's website or whatever, and she's a puddle, like a dirty puddle. And this entire musical number that's fucking fantastic takes place in this like gross kind of like ghetto drag race game. I spoke to Jeff actually, I think earlier the same morning that we were gonna go see it, and I told him, I'm like, if anybody remembers Shrek 2 was like, obviously Shrek has always made fun of Disney and the princesses
Right.
or whatever, but that particular movie, the princesses come together and have this like badass like fight scene to save Fiona.
Right.
And I told Jeff, I'm like, if they don't do that in Ralph Breaks the Internet, it's gonna be a waste of the princesses. And when Ralph is falling and Rapunzel points up and says, look, a big strong man in need of rescuing, I lost my shit. It was everything. And I've gone back this week specifically just to watch that part. Where all the princesses they team up and they use their strengths to save Ralph. And it's so Disney does things so well that even like the scoring of each individual princess's like main theme is woven into the song. I mean, into like the overall score in that part. And it's really really cool. I loved this movie. Outside of like everything that you said, Neri, I agree with, but that was what for me made
I
this
left
movie.
you the princess because I know you were super passionate about that scene, which I am too.
Yeah.
But I love this fucking movie.
No, it's
Missy?
a great movie.
Missy, thoughts?
I support your choices.
No, you can't do that.
I know.
You can't do that.
I don't know what happened, but
Why didn't you like this movie? What's wrong with you?
I feel like it might have been overhyped. I'm gonna get stoned, but fuck it. I feel like the whole
It's Ralph Breaks the Internet, not Aquaman.
you were outnumbered on that, sir. I got $1 billion.
We agreed.
I have $1 billion against that fucking argument. Anyway,
$1 billion club, y'all.
yeah. So, I feel like this movie was overhyped. I feel like
Who overhyped it?
The internet.
The internet, basically, yeah.
Because it was broken.
My favorite. I did enjoy like the portrayal of the internet. I thought it was super smart and funny, and but I don't know. I don't understand like why. I still to this day don't understand why Ralph turned into a giant pile of mini Ralphs. Like what was that? I don't get it. I feel like that whole scene got dragged the fuck on. They could have cut it in half and it would have been a lot better, in my opinion. I wasn't really that hyped about the princess scene either. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think I don't know.
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion.
I liked it, but I'm not like fucking.
No, you didn't like it.
No, you
That's
didn't.
not what you said. You
didn't
said
like
this movie's not good.
Yeah.
You came out saying it was trash. Don't
Did
give
I?
me that. Yes.
I don't know if you used the word trash, but you said this movie wasn't good. You
Yeah.
definitely said that.
Well, and then I guess that's how I feel.
Okay.
I don't know. It's my truth.
Cool. Threes?
Okay. That's where it gets interesting. So my number 3 and 2 could be interchangeable. Like literally
My top
sitting
3
here.
is this way.
Not my 1, but my 2 and 3, yes. And my number 3 is Mary Poppins Returns. Now, before the walk the fuck out. You don't understand what the hell is happening here.
I envy you, Dave. I wish I could walk out.
He did walk out actually, but as a
fucking
joke.
tried. But I really wanted to.
Okay. I have been arguing against the fact that I like this movie because of the nostalgia, and I will raise my hand and say that yes, it does have a lot to do with nostalgia. Mary Poppins is one of like 5 things that went right in my childhood. So I've been looking forward to this movie. Like,
there was Mary Poppins, there was ramen, there was mac and cheese, and there was what else? What are the other 5? I'm asking. I'm trying to figure out what the other 5 things for your childhood.
I mean, you want to like bring the room down.
It wasn't your movie selection. It wasn't your TV show selection.
Yes, it was. Yes, it fucking was.
Your movie selection?
Yeah.
You missed a lot of movie selections during your childhood.
No,
matter.
she was busy watching Scarface.
I watched Scarface. don't 7-year-olds watch that? So for me, I watched it twice. Once with Christy, Vanessa, and Julie, Chrissy's mom, and I lost my shit when I like crying like a little bitch multiple times during the movie. Specifically when she first comes on the screen, like boohoo cry. These women were like watching me watch the scene, and like I was like like just a mess. I think Emily Blunt was fucking flawless as Mary Poppins. It hurts me to say that Lin-Manuel Miranda was the worst part of this movie, and it hurts me. It hurts me in my insides
on that.
I feel like I don't know that his talent up to this point,
Worst
and what the
gaslighter ever.
what the fuck am I talking about, right? Like, I'm not qualified. That was just my opinion, but I feel like his like he knows what the fuck he's doing on a theater stage. It may not be at a fucking movie level yet,
Right.
And so his accent was like the worst.
It was bad.
I didn't like it. It threw me off.
To be
honest.
fair, when the original Mary Poppins came out, they shat on Dick Van Dyke for his accent.
They were fucking wrong.
So
in 30 years, maybe we'll look back and
So-
Limo knows
and
awful
go,
acting
yeah.
and be like, you know what?
He had a point, right? I like that. So this movie is not, contrary to popular belief, it is not a reboot. It is a sequel.
Correct.
It's based on, I think, the second and a little bit of the third of the books. And Mary Poppins comes back. It's like, I think maybe 30 years later, the Banks children are grown, and Michael has 3 kids. His wife has just died. He's mourning the loss of his wife. The kids are mourning as well, and you're in the middle of the Great Depression. So perfect scenario for Mary Poppins to come in and, get the house in order.
Right.
And the cameos were another aspect of this movie that just hit me right, like in the feels every
You already
single
said that.
time.
You said nostalgia. You already said that part.
No, but can I get into the details?
I'm just fucking with you. I'm just
fucker.
fucking with you.
I hate him so much. And like, I think it was Dick Van Dyke's cameo was fucking great. I don't really care about the, like, you can shit on the rest of the movie. That part was great. Angela Lansbury, which I think they fucking wrote her name wrong because she's Mrs. fucking Potts. I'm sitting in Cine Bistro. I don't know if Christy told you this the first time I was watching it, and it's already towards the end. I'm like emotionally like spent because it's been a fucking great experience. And then I hear the lady, like Angela, and I'm like, are they gonna? And then they show her
know
face.
she was in it?
No. And I fucking I'm like, it's Mrs. Potts. It's Mrs. Potts.
I'm just disappointed she wasn't trying to solve a murder.
Right? She's
Or
either
cut
she's
someone
either
up into meat
Mrs.
pies.
Yeah. So and I feel like the music was great too. There's one song that was really hard to follow, which is
Lin-Manuel Miranda's book song.
I loved that song.
that it was hard
to cover a book.
yeah.
I loved that song.
It is a great song. I'm saying that it was hard to follow it when I was watching it for the first time. I went home and I listened to it with the lyrics, and then it made sense. Like when I watched the second time, it made a lot more sense,
Right.
and I got what they were going for in that specific number. The second time around,
Right.
The first time, the accent was so thick that I was like, "What the fuck are they saying?" I had no idea what they were saying, and I don't know. I have like. I know it's not a perfect movie. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. But for me, this was like, you talk about like movie events. I'm not going to compare it to Star Wars because then I'm really going to fucking die. But it's on that level of anticipation when you're like fucking scratching the walls to be able to watch it.
It's more realistic for her to fly than Princess Leia, so you're fine.
Right. And I know that there's a moment at the end where they're trying to stop the Big Ben. I think you said it. And you said it too.
Cunty Mary Poppins at that part.
I literally said it. We were watching a movie, and then they had that trouble. The chimney sweeps or the fucking.
We're trying to climb up
Not
to that
chimney
fucking.
sweeps in this one. They're
whatever the
They're
fuck.
gas lighters.
Gaslighters. They have a billion lighters, and they're climbing up Big Ben by the outside, which. I've never been to England, but I fucking know you could go on the inside, man. Just go on the
not
fucking
in the middle
inside.
of the night.
Now we're against
that's
picking
the
locks.
problem.
We're against picking locks now.
Yes, we are.
Oh, really?
Crime
Okay.
is not supported in this movie.
Sure. All right. Fucking bunch of time thieves and
Bunch of what?
a bunch of time thieves. And so then they're having problems, and then Mary Poppins goes, "Oh God, I gotta do everything myself," and she casually fucking flies up there, and I'm like, "You could have fucking done that." I literally, I'm watching the movie for the first, and I'm like, "Oh, really? You could?
He did it.
You
He
could have
did.
fucking do that the
But-
whole fucking time. You
that's
risk
the first
people's
thing.
lives."
Yeah, I told Christy that at the beginning.
But, okay. However, what's wrong with trying to see if they can do it first? You don't have to hold their hands the whole time.
Oh,
Like,
you're
You're
right.
right, because they had plenty of time to figure that out.
Yeah.
There weren't on any time constraints.
Yeah.
So maybe they rushed ahead
Oh,
of her.
so
and she
what?
couldn't
Somebody
cut them off.
falls and breaks a neck. Who gives a shit?
Nobody
At least
died.
they tried.
Nobody
Lin-Manuel
died. Don't be
almost did.
dramatic. Yeah, almost doesn't count.
Yeah. Now, I didn't hate the movie. I wasn't like obsessed with the movie. I am gonna kind of call out Neri on something. I got called out because I cried in 2 songs.
I didn't get caught. Yeah, I didn't call you out.
Yeah, you did in the chat.
No, I
You-
said-
you called me a pussy.
No,
and
no, no,
said
no.
My aunt that raised me died, and I didn't cry in the songs that you were crying.
No.
But
no,
you just said that in Ralph.
Context. Hold on. You said, all right. First of all, you're confusing 2 people and 2 conversations here. First, you said that you cried, and Dave goes, "Bro, how the fuck did you cry? I didn't cry. Me that didn't cry. This
Right.
is Dave
And
talking."
Dave's a liar because he cried. He didn't like this movie, but he cried when when they opened the movie and you see Cherry Tree Lane for the first time. Like, and Dave was like 30 seconds in, Dave was crying.
Yeah, I don't
he
get
just
it.
didn't like the rest of it. Beyond that, but-
anyway, so they were saying that he didn't cry, right? Then I said, "Bro, I don't get what part did you cry in?" And you go, "Oh, it's because my grandmother died." And then I was like, "Oh fuck, well there goes that. I can't fucking argue that, right? I can't." And then I said, and then you said, "Yeah, because my grandmother died, and that's what got me." And I forgot
The
what
song
part.
with it was the song with the pearls.
They'll remember. Yeah,
The remembering and the lost and found one. Those
Right.
are the 2 songs.
Yeah.
I don't even look. I gotta be honest with you. These songs are fucking horrific. They're not memorable at all. You're talking to somebody who watches a movie and goes, "Oh, I like this song. I'm gonna go download it," or sometimes downloads it in the theater while I'm watching the movie. These songs were awful. They were fucking forgettable. They were not good at all. They weren't sang well. So. But I did get that kind of feeling when he was looking through through the attic, and
Right.
I did get that kind of like, oh man, he's sad that his wife died. I didn't cry, but I did get that feeling. Now you said something to the effect of
Because of my grandmother.
because your grandmother, and you go, "I'm sorry, I love my grandmother," and I was like, "Well, my fucking aunt that raised me died 3 months ago. I'm sorry. Apparently, I didn't love her enough. I don't like that was the joke that I made about me because you said
I misinterpreted it then.
because you said." I'm sorry. I cried. I'm sorry. I missed my grandmother, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I don't miss my fucking aunt." Is that what you're, like that's the conversation. Again, you were mixing 2 conversations with 2 different people, but whatever.
Okay, no, then never mind. Because
but
I was like, okay, well, he's saying that Ralph Breaks the Internet made him sob about his friends,
But it wasn't a
it's
song. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But I totally understand. Like I get there are songs that okay, dude. I'm a pussy. Aside from Dave, before I met Dave, I was the biggest cinematic pussy on earth. Like I was like, I cried at The Mask with Jim Carrey. That's a fucking story that I've told a million times, and it's fucking true. I'm very emotional. I'm not Dave Wuyo emotional, but I'm fucking very emotional. This movie, I did get that. Oh, he missed his wife. That is sad.
I did hear.
But I think it was. Here's the problem. The acting from him in particular.
Oh, he was for me the worst part of that movie was that guy.
I think it was
So I
tied with him and
hated
Lin
him.
Manuel. It was really bad acting, and that was the ones. You know what took me out of that scene is the fact that he was actually acting good in that scene, and I was like, "Oh, this is different." What's
And
going on
that
here?
guy apparently is like a super famous British actor. I had never seen him in anything before that, but I looked him up after the fact, and he's done a lot of shit. I have always been very vocal that I appreciate the original Mary Poppins for what it is. I know what it did for cinema and what it did for the Disney company. I loved, Saving Mr. Banks. I love.
I
Like,
absolutely adored
I
Saving
love
Mr. Banks.
the story behind it and the but the movie itself for me is just it's not my favorite.
I'm with you.
That being said, I really liked this a lot, and I was expecting not to like it because I didn't like the first one. I love Emily Blunt. Like I think she can do
Absolutely.
no wrong to me. Like I loved her, and I don't think that there's anybody that could have played Mary Poppins.
No.
there's nobody else.
It
aside
wasn't
from-
even an option. They
Right.
called her and told her, "Hey, by the way, we're doing a Mary Poppins Returns."
I
and
mean,
you're
like
Mary
short
Poppins.
of Julie Andrews, like there's no other person that could have.
Anne Hathaway, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
Get the fuck out of here with
sorry,
Did you know
Anne
that?
Hathaway.
Did you catch on to the?
Is she not a good singer? Is Anne Hathaway not a
No,
good singer?
she's a great singer,
Then
but
what
she's-
the fuck are we talking about here? You don't like her as a person, that's on you.
She's
but
a-
as an actress, she's fantastic.
She can't be
good
British.
actress, but
And she's a great
can't be
singer.
British.
And she's a
Yes, but she can't be British.
She's the fucking queen of Genovia, for God's sakes.
Yes, they're not British.
That's not in the-
That's not
It's in
same
the UK.
country.
It was
No, it's
before
not.
Brexit. It was before Brexit. You don't know.
Did you know that? You know that a couple of days ago they released like the video the
I saw
bathtub
that.
scene.
Yeah, I saw
where
that.
everyone thought that was CGI, but
Yeah.
it's actually a fucking backward slide
Yeah.
that she legit threw herself down when
cool.
in that scene. Which is really cool.
Dave's big gripe. With
I
this,
wanted to like this movie.
Dave's
a lot.
big gripe with this movie was
I
that
don't think
basically
he
it was
did.
like a
no,
shot
look,
for
look,
shot.
I got proof. I got proof. I posted on the WuBro Pod Instagram. I posted the teaser on it when it came out in D23, the teaser poster of Emily Blunt, and I was like, oh my god, we're all fucking super. When I said we all, but I was like fucking me fanboying out, I was like, because Emily Blunt, and I'm like Emily Blunt and Mary Poppins. I'm a huge fan of Saving Mr. Banks, even though it's historically inaccurate.
it's all-
term.
it's- yeah.
I wish they did I wish they did a Saving Mr. Banks the way they did a First Man. Be honest. Let's be fucking brutally honest and not.
But the Walt
sugarcoat
Disney
shit.
Company will
They're
never.
gonna
They will
fucking do
never allow that.
But I posted something on WuBro Pod, like again D23 when they first announced the first teaser. I shared the video and I was like, this is gonna be amazing, and I was like very hopeful and I wanted to watch it. No, I am not the biggest fan of the original Mary Poppins, in the sense of I'm a super fan. I wasn't. I saw the
I
movie
feel the
super.
same
I
way.
feel the super. I saw the movie super late in life, and I didn't watch it until recently, maybe a year or two ago, and I liked it. I thought it was cute. The best part about that are the songs that were
See,
very memorable. I was like,
see, so for me, I only think there's like 3 good songs in the original Mary Poppins. I think a lot of this,
Which is
I
3
think-
more than what we got
I think
here.
a lot of the original Mary Poppins drags. Like I think it's very boring in times. I didn't feel that way in
how I
this
feel
one.
about this
I
one.
also am like hit or miss with. I know people are gonna fucking murder me, but I'm hit or miss with Meryl Streep. I don't love Meryl. I'm not one of these people that's obsessed with Meryl Streep. I fucking loved her in this movie. I loved the song she sang. Like
I don't understand. I don't understand you.
I'm
What is
sorry.
she? What has she missed?
I think Glenn Close is a better actress, and she gets
that I give
and
you.
She gets
that
shafted all the time.
but that's not saying that
Oh, I
she's hit
know.
or miss. You're not just because you're saying one actress is better than the other. I'm with you on Glenn Close.
Not
Like
that
hit or miss for you.
Hit or miss for me. Like
Not for the
I
whole
don't
world.
What movie
I don't
was a
think that
miss?
she
Devil
Mamma
Wears
Mia.
Product.
She's
The
fucking
Devil Wears Product.
Product, yeah. The Devil Wears Product.
Look at that moose.
I'm just not one of these people that's like crazy obsessed with Meryl Streep. Like people for Meryl Streep for a lot of people is the end all be all like best actress.
I'm totally.
black-
I'm with you.
I'm just
Glenn
not.
Close is better.
I'm not. I like her. I think she's great. I'm not like taking anything away from her.
You kind of are.
I just don't think. I'm just like not.
She's
like,
not the best. I'm not taking anything away from her. You literally took away the best from her. You literally
Yeah,
took that
literally.
away.
I'm not obsessed with her like how people are obsessed with her is my only point. But I loved her in this movie. I loved her in this role. I like this. It's not this movie. If I would have had a top 15, would have been in it. It wasn't there. But I really did love it. I really did love this movie.
I think that, I think I loved it as much. I'll cave and say that I think I loved it as much because of the nostalgia. I would say half of it. The other half is that you cannot deny Emily Blunt.
No, you can't.
Like, you cannot.
And I think even if you didn't like this movie, you can't deny it. You
Yeah,
can't
like
deny that.
she's fucking great.
agree.
I'm waiting for her to make a bad movie.
Yeah. The other thing that
But
gets
hold
me-
on,
yeah.
but
She made Devil Was Proud of. So.
she's the fucking best part. Get the fuck out of here.
You're so easy. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
calm down.
Like they want to do a spin-off of Devil Wears Prada based around her character.
But do they want to make a good movie though?
Oh my god.
Get it? Because that movie's stupid.
Your face is
And I think
That is true. This is also true. You stated 2 facts.
I think that I liked it. Like, a lot of the reason why I like this movie so much is because of the nostalgia, and then the other half is just like they're undeniable characters. It's not a perfect movie, but if I was really, really like
wasn't bad.
perfect, it would have been my number one. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think to counter your perspectives, I would say that because you didn't really you weren't that crazy about the original, then you're not really emotionally attached
Right.
to your
I'm not
expectations for this one. So
You're 100% right.
I
I'm
get
not.
it. I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but we will have it in the family share the day it comes out on digital.
I will say one last thing about it
You
is
got it. You won.
the original Mary Poppins does hold a soft spot in my
Found a
heart.
shitty Emily Blunt movie. She was in Gulliver's Travels.
Oh, that movie was bad.
Yeah, he showed me like 3 other movies. I'm like, no, it's really good. He goes, oh, really? Because no, it's really good. And then that one, I'm like, you won. That's That's the winner.
One of the things that the original Mary Poppins does hold a special place in my heart because of my grandfather. My grandfather, they always said, was the Cuban Dick Van Dyke, in the sense that he looked like him, and I've seen pictures of my grandfather where from when he was young, that and he looks like Dick Van Dyke. So my grandfather died like 13 years ago. So seeing Dick Van Dyke and anything gets me like feely, because I miss my grandfather, So
Well, for
seeing
me, it's
him
just because he's Bert,
but
and also he's Dick Van Dyke.
but seeing Dick Van Dyke being 80s, 90s, I don't know how old he is, but in his late 80s,
in his late 80s,
get up and dance, even if it's first.
He looks older than that, to be honest with you. Maybe it was movie.
Well, they've
makeup.
also
he
put a
did-
lot of. That's not his hair and his beard and stuff.
he
But
did his own dancing. He was like adamant about doing it. So
and
like,
and
good
Dick
for
Van
him.
Dyke is like a. If you know anything about him, he's like a dark person. Like he was a functioning alcoholic for years, and he
another way to live?
did. He was shooting Mary Poppins, the Dick Van Dyke Show, and Bye Bye Birdie, all around in the same year, and stinking drunk the entire time. So that's just a little fun fact.
Well,
That's so depressing that somebody could be pissed drunk and be that talented. More so than when I'm sober.
I keep drinking, hoping that it'll fucking come out, but I'm still waiting. So anyway, that's my number 3.
I didn't like this movie.
I know you
for those
didn't.
listeners,
What?
For the listeners, who
I didn't
like
get that.
He watched it. When I watched it the second time, it was his choice. I want you to know.
It was. I just didn't want to be a jerk because it was either between that or another movie that we saw, and that I had seen already, and I didn't want to be that guy who's selfish and be like, "No, you got to see my movie." So I was like, "I'll get." And again, I wanted to like Mary Poppins, and I
But
like
didn't you tell me that you liked it more than Bumblebee?
Which one?
Mary Poppins Returns.
No.
No,
No.
I hallucinated that.
Yeah.
I must have been hungry.
Yeah, you must have been. No. Bumblebee wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. This movie was bad.
You
I think
think this movie's
Mary
bad?
Poppins Returns is bad.
Wow.
I think it has really bad acting. The movie's awful. The songs are awful. Emily Blunt is the one glimmer of like.
The kids are cute and they're talented.
You know what? They weren't bad. The kids weren't bad. I will give you that. I don't
The
think they were-
cameos, nothing. Dick
cameos
Van
did-
Dyke, nothing.
Nothing. I
Meryl
did it.
Streep, nothing.
No.
Angela.
I'm with.
Lansbury, nothing?
This is the one scene where I saw Meryl Streep that I was like, oh look, it's Meryl Streep.
He did say that. That's
And I was
not
like,
a lie.
and I'm like, all right. But maybe because the movie, by that time, the movie already had lost me. I was like, you got to bring it to fucking get me back. You got to pull. This isn't like Simon Says, where the first 2/3 of the movie were
Love
meh.
Simon.
This is. I'm sorry. What is
Simon
it?
Says it's a game.
No, Simon Says is the movie with
Gerard Butler.
No, Dennis Rodman.
It's also a game.
Oh
but
my
it is.
God,
Yeah, it
Dennis
is.
Rodman.
Um,
What happened to that guy?
He's in North Korea.
That's right.
But I just didn't like this. I didn't think this movie was good. I thought this movie was flat out bad in a lot of ways. Everything that I was supposed to like about this movie, I just didn't like. I wish, again, I was fucking with you guys when you guys were, I was like, oh yeah, for a reboot. I was totally trolling and just having fun. But I did want to like this movie. I wanted to like it. I was, I just didn't.
did. So
Yeah.
it has its flaws. I'm not gonna fucking Man of the Woods this and just fucking deny it until I'm bored. But it has its flaws. It fucking kills me to say that I think Lin-Manuel Miranda was.
He's a bad actor, man.
He's not.
He's not a bad actor.
He's a bad actor in
he's
this
a bad
movie.
Yeah.
Film actor.
No, yeah,
I don't
like-
think he's ready for film.
I'm not judging his entire career because I don't know him
Right.
from his career.
But I
I've never
do,
seen. I've
so
never
I'm
seen.
telling
I've
you
never
that
seen a
as-
stage.
right.
He's a bad actor in this movie.
Well,
and
that's
it's the
what
only movie that I've seen of his. So therefore, he's a bad actor
So-
in this movie.
So right, but what I had said it earlier, where I think he's great as a theater actor,
But it's two different animals.
it hasn't translated yet to film. Maybe in a couple of roles down the road, he'll
How many roles must you hurt? And
He's only done.
how many films must you kill?
He's
before?
oh Jesus. Anyway,
Look. It was actually in the Mount Geekmore
I believe
Instagram.
you.
Look what I wrote. How do you like Emily Blunt in this a new trailer for Mary Poppins? Geekmore podcast is definitely loves it, and I raved out about it. And this was in July of 2017.
okay.
Well over a year before it came out. I was excited for it, man.
All
I'm just trying to
right.
tell
I'm
you.
sorry that you were disappointed. I was not. So that's my number 3.
I think that my number 3 might be tabled, but my number 3 is A Star Is Born.
Table.
Okay.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
Which time?
Huh?
Never mind.
Never mind. We'll talk about it. You tabled. My number 3 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Table.
Okay.
I've already.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Neri?
My number 3 is Avengers Infinity War.
Okay.
Yay!
I think that's the highest one.
It should
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
I had it at 8.
Did you have this one?
I
No,
didn't. No,
you only
no, I
had
didn't.
one
No,
superhero
she had
movie.
Black
Yeah.
Panther. It was the best.
What, did you have it on?
What?
Yeah, Avengers?
Yeah.
On your list? What number?
6.
6. All right. So you had it 8?
Yeah.
Missy had it at 8. Jeff had it at 6. I had it at 3.
It started at 4. And then it got moved up by Green Book and First Man.
I didn't not like this movie. I loved this movie.
Steph,
I
did not like it's a double negative.
I understand, but I'm trying to make my point that I did love this movie.
You just have a one superhero movie.
I just have a one superhero movie.
Yeah, that's
Crazy Rich Asians hasn't made your.
so talking to Jeff
about her number 1.
Jeff earlier said I would put so and so on my top 10, but I already have 2 animated movies, and I was like, okay. And then he talked about Green Book, and I go, it's a black movie. I already have 2 black movies. And he says, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? I go, what the fuck does having two animated movies? That's a fuck. No matter how you slice it.
But I still think Smallfoot wouldn't.
No. Again, I'm just giving you the example of having that restriction of like, well, it's a superhero movie, so I can't have more than like that's. It makes your top 10 or it doesn't make your top 10. It doesn't. Avengers.
You had it highest, so start.
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Start it off.
So Avengers Infinity War is fantastic. We've all seen it. Everybody's seen it. It made $1 billion+ in the movie theater. So congratulations, it's fucking great. It's the culmination of 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was great. It included all the great movies that Marvel has made before and the bad ones, and because it has a few bad ones in there. Thor 2, look at you.
2 billion.
Huh?
2 billion
Yeah.
it grossed. Wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well worth
Number
it.
of people that got killed.
So happy Loki's dead. Am I right?
Yeah,
BFF?
right. Overrated. All right, so there's a lot of people that I didn't cry at this movie, didn't get emotional at this movie.
I didn't cry either.
When people died, spoiler alert again for the whole fucking podcast, but people died in this movie, superheroes died in this movie, and I think what took the emotion, the possibility of me getting emotional over these superheroes dying, I think is that Black Panther was like the second one to go. And in my mind, I couldn't separate the fact that I was like, this movie just made $1 billion. There's gonna be a fucking sequel. There's no way T'Challa's dead. Like if you would have killed off,
announced the sequels.
Right.
That. Everybody, like 3 of the people that died had sequels.
Yeah.
Almost everybody that
like if you would have killed off just side characters, but you killed off a guy who's he's the title of a movie. You know what I mean?
Doctor Strange.
Like Doctor Strange, like that's
Spider-Man.
And T'Challa was the first one. I was like, no, I don't believe this anymore. So I took off the possibility of being emotional. With that said, I fucking love this movie. Watched it 2 weeks ago, rewatched it again 2 weeks ago. You're right, BFF. I didn't rewatch it 1,000 times like it did other Marvel movies or DC
the only
movies
other time I've kind of seen it is when we were on the plane to LA. It was one of the movies that was on, and I just Missy and I were watching people around us that hadn't seen it yet, and they were like panicking on the plane.
They got to California really fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm the reverse of Steph. I've seen Black Panther one other time.
I saw Black Panther twice on home video, and I was because of my daughter. And there was
video?
Yeah, because it was not VHS.
But can you go with me here? Did you get it at Blockbuster?
It's a home video.
Okay.
I don't understand.
Okay.
They literally.
Okay.
Home videos is what you record of your family.
No, but
not like fucking.
No, they literally promote movies and they go available on Blu-ray, blah blah, and home video a week earlier. That's what they say.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Do they really?
Well, what I was saying
it doesn't matter.
It was a phrase from 1993 that you had brought
Home
back.
video is not a like. I didn't say a tape.
VHS.
I didn't say VHS. I didn't
When
say
you say home video, in my head, I
went to, like,
see
a full
a
house.
I
giant.
didn't say home movie. That's what you're thinking about is a fucking the Goldbergs
No,
taping their fucking home.
I'm
That's
thinking
a
of
home movie,
fucking
not a home
VHS
video.
tape.
Okay, I've only heard digital Blu-ray. I haven't heard it as home video. Kill me,
So,
jeez.
so wait. So what I was saying was, I'm the opposite of her. I've seen Black Panther maybe one other time,
victimized.
but I've seen in the last 2 months I've seen Infinity War 3 more times, plus the 2 other times
Yeah.
I've seen it before then.
I saw it 3
I've seen
times.
it way more than Black Panther.
I saw it 3 times in theaters. I saw Avengers: Infinity War 3 times in theater, and I saw it twice after that. So it's not a lot, but it's a long fucking movie.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know what I mean. And I saw it in its entirety all 5 times. Definitely seen other superhero movies more, but it's not taking anything away from it. I love this movie a lot. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think the couplings of we did a spoiler.
Yeah.
We did a spoiler special on this movie. I forget whether
I think it was Geekmore that
was
did it.
It was
Geekmore
WuBro. We
or
did it.
WuBro.
Oh.
But the groupings that they did, I think were perfect.
Yeah.
It made me hate Chris Pratt and Star-Lord. I can't see him the same anymore. I think now
because he ruined it.
Yeah, he ruined it.
come on.
I do like the fact that they try to blame it on other people, but I'm like, no. It's this guy.
Well, really, it's Loki's fault, but whatever.
I mean, let's forget that the directors said that he was mind controlled, but sure, we can believe our truth.
Who was mind control where?
That Loki was mind controlled the whole time when he was stealing the Tesseract and everything.
But mind control
Thanos was controlling him already.
he's stealing the Tesseract from Ragnarok. From Thor Ragnarok?
From the first Avengers.
In the first
Avengers, but he was mind controlled the
right,
entire
but
time.
that's what they're saying now, that there's a bunch of
Yeah,
backlash.
but the entire for everything.
Thanos
movie?
had control of him from the beginning, doing all the shit that he was doing. I mentioned it in the chat.
No,
That's what
I
they're
understand,
saying
but
now to
I thought
cover up for the fact that now everybody knows that it's all Loki's
No
fault.
way, but I thought you meant that he was mind controlled throughout the Avengers, the original Avengers.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but not after that. Like he was still controlled after the Avengers movie. Like he was controlled in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, he said that he's been mind controlled from the beginning. That's the article said something about the director said he's been mind controlled by
Didn't
Thanos.
Whedon direct that first one?
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying the Infinity War director.
Right.
Oh, the Russos.
They were saying
Okay.
the Russos were saying that from the beginning he's been mind controlled.
But I'm trying to figure out what the beginning is, because in the beginning Thor, the original Thor movie, he was controlled then. Like there wasn't even.
Well, no, but he didn't have the Tesseract then. He was going after. He went after the Tesseract in Avengers.
No, from the first Avenger
right,
movie.
but he was still an asshole in Thor.
Right.
Well, yeah, he's the god of mischief.
Yeah, mischief, not assholeness.
Asshole.
Same.
Anyways, whatever. But besides the point, I'm not bashing on. I've always just said I don't get why people love
I
Loki
agree.
so much.
I don't fucking get it
I'm
at
not
all.
bashing on him. I'm like, I just don't get. He's not a great villain to me. I think he's subpar at best. Whatever. But
I mean, everybody's entitled to wrong opinions. It's fine.
I've never really been that emotionally attached to him one way or another. I
loved him in Thor Ragnarok.
every
That's the one I
he was
liked
great
him
in
the
Thor
most.
I was
He
rooting
was
for
good in
him like a
Ragnarok.
little bit in Thor Ragnarok, and then I was like, I've always had this.
Yeah, but
reaction,
then
like,
he's still an asshole. So.
yeah, I'm like, but why? Like, just why? That's always been my reaction to everything he does. Just fucking be cool, man.
I like the
Don't
I
be
like
all
the I like
cool.
the suave British assholes.
I kind of fist pumped when he cracked his neck.
Yeah, but he's not.
When they snapped
Suave.
when Thanos snapped his neck.
yeah,
I-
yes.
No,
Yeah, yes.
no.
Yeah,
What?
yes.
No, he's
Yeah,
not
yes.
suave. He's like, oh, I like a suave British asshole. So do I, but he's not
fucking
suave.
totally suave when he
Okay.
fucking
He
makes
dated, he
makes everybody bow down to him when he's at that fucking party. That guy's got
I mean,
his
if
dick
you're
hanging
gonna
out
kill
slapping
me,
everybody.
if my option is to die or bow down to you, I'm gonna. That's
When
not
he's
charm.
walk-
I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm scared
When-
for
if
my
a,
life.
If a guy in Liberty City pulls out a gun and goes Neo, it doesn't mean he's suave.
Yeah,
It just means I don't want to die.
It means I'm gonna die.
when he's walking through there and he's talking to everybody, Loki is of course suave. Loki's.
I'm not
suave the
debating that.
entire time.
I'm not here going to debate Loki's suaveness or not. I just, but I love the movie, man. We've
Go
talked
to
about,
bed.
we've talked about, yeah, we talked about
okay.
it in
He'll
nauseum about this movie. I love the movie. You listen back to our spoiler
He can Uber
special.
home if he
I thought it
wants.
was fantastic. So
Thanos is my favorite MCU villain.
I still like.
I don't understand how you support genocide, but okay.
Because he's not wrong. His methods are wrong, but he's not wrong in what he's
They
saying.
said the same thing about Hitler. You know what I mean?
Overpopulation.
They said the same.
Snap your fingers and make more food, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Expand the universe.
correct.
Make room for people.
Make more resources.
but
Why
the-
you gotta kill everybody, you bitch?
But the thing is that he's seen it succeed on other planets, so that's what he knows.
so go there.
but he has I love a villain that
Has a
believes
purpose. Yeah.
believes that what they're doing is right,
Killmonger.
or has
But
a purpose.
Killmonger was actually right. He just had the wrong.
Means the same thing.
Methods?
It's the same thing.
The same
It's
thing.
No, I don't think Thanos was right.
I think Thanos
So
is
you
right.
think that there's not too many people in the world?
It's fine.
All right.
All right.
I love Thanos. My favorite villain to this day is Baron
Baron Zemo.
Baron Zemo. He did it with no superpower. He broke up the Avengers with zero
Yeah.
superpowers. That to me is fucking amazing.
You're completely right. I will point out that Thanos took on the Hulk one-on-one without any powers and made him a bitch.
But he's still a
too.
super villain though. He still has
Yes,
powers.
yeah.
He didn't have the.
Oh, you mean like
infinity.
he doesn't have any strength?
No,
or
no,
anything like
he
that?
has
Yeah,
no
Baron
strength.
Zemo
He
is
has
just a man.
Right.
Baron Zemo
Right.
is just a human.
Right.
And he disassembled the Avengers.
You're right.
So
I want to point
but
out.
that was great. I love one of those tweets that said Thanos gave the Hulk a 2-piece biscuit meal. So much so that he was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this shit again. And but when you rewatch it again, you don't realize. Like I rewatched it and I thought, okay, the Hulk is in this. He's gonna lose because it's the beginning of the movie. And I rewatched it like, oh no. Hulk was like he just got.
He was giving him his all.
Yeah.
He was trying to give
Yeah.
him the business, and he got the
I
business.
And he
Still-
got shocked too when fucking Thanos hit him. He was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, what the
Yeah,
fuck is
yeah,
happening?"
yeah.
Yeah.
I still maintain, and I know Missy maintains this also, that Scarlet Witch could have taken him down had she not been also trying to
I
save
was- I
Vision
was
at the
the
same
one
time.
that-
As a
made
fan
that
of the,
Oh, I'm sorry.
As
Yeah.
a fan of the comics, I know that to be true.
Oh,
because
I-
she is literally the most powerful.
Right,
Yeah.
I know
in
that
the- in
too,
the-
with not being a fan of the comics, but being married to a fan of the comics. But yes,
Just to point out, if you are interested and you're listening, you want to listen to the Infinity War spoiler session. Special. It's Geekmore 83.
There you go.
And the one other thing with Thanos that I love is that throughout it, especially the scene with the Soul Stone, that it's just like with him and Gamora, just that scene of, well, you have to get rid of something you love, and she's just laughing because at first she doesn't understand.
She doesn't get it.
That he really does love her, and then like he turns around and he's got the tear in his eye, and then she realizes and she's like,
Why
fuck.
didn't she jump off the cliff, dude?
So
Yeah.
like taking matters.
She
into her
already
own
told
hands.
Star-Lord to
She
kill
tried.
herself.
She tried to
Yeah.
stab herself,
Yeah.
and then he made that into bubbles. Just fucking jump off the cliff. You going to go out. I mean, granted, he would change her reality and fucking
and bring her back.
Right.
bring her back. But at least you fucking
Give
tried.
it a shot.
I would have been like, "What's over there?" Like fucking like Marty McFly. What's that?
A destruction.
my thing, I love this movie, and my favorite thing about the movie is
Don't call us
that
plucky. You don't know what it means. I like the fact that Iron Man and Spider-Man just looked at each other like, "What the fuck?" Oh, like they're such idiots. It's so great.
Infinity War gave you everyone at their peak, and they did that just to fucking crush you. And I didn't cry in this movie, but it definitely was like
Jeff laughed.
stressed the fuck out. Yeah, no,
I was laughing at the end.
He
'Cause
laughed.
everybody was miserable around me, and I was like, "This is perfect."
No, I wasn't miserable. I was just like, what
He
the fuck
laughed
just
and he did
happened?
this triangle thing with his fingers. Like he was like,
Mr. Burns,
Yeah, yeah.
But
like
I also
yes.
had the same reaction that you did, where when I saw that they took out Black Panther, I'm like, oh, they
Yeah,
gotta
this
fix
isn't
it.
like this isn't
There's
real.
too much
I
money.
think it was too quick. I think if he would have been one of the later ones to die,
You probably would have been in the moment a
Yeah.
little bit longer than if they
Yeah,
would have been
yeah.
at the beginning.
I
And-
thought Iron Man was gonna die when Thanos in the fight
Stabbed
because
him.
the thing was that this is Robert Downey Jr.'s last movie. We don't know whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is the one. So I was preparing myself like, oh fuck, man, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And when he did it, I was like, I'm gonna kill everybody else. Then I don't give a fuck, man. I'm fine.
most brutal death, really fast in 10 seconds or
Vision.
less.
Vision.
Oh, Vision for sure.
Getting ripped.
The first time or the second time?
No, the second time when he
Yeah.
gets ripped out of his head.
Yeah.
Same.
When it's just slowly
Worse
and ripping
than Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
I
The
don't
only
want to
reason it
go.
bothered
I don't
me.
want to go. That's
The only
it was
reason
right
that,
here. And
the only reason that got to me wasn't because of Spider-Man. It's because
of Doctor Who.
Because that's the same line that David Tennant says before he dies.
I don't know those
And
words.
I know
Yeah.
you don't, but that's why it got to
That's
me.
something you could teach me.
There you go.
Most
Second
brutal
episode.
death. I Vision, I would say, but I literally go, yeah, that's fucking great. Like I was like, I don't know, am I a sociopath? I don't know if I am.
It was just
Same thing.
Scratch at that.
Same thing when he snapped Loki's neck. I fist pumped like, fuck yeah, this is gonna get brutal. Here we go.
Even though it was at the beginning, I didn't appreciate. Well, not that I didn't appreciate, but Heimdall hurt me a little bit.
Yeah. Idris Elba.
Yeah.
The Cole Obsidian one was kind of cool. Just when he's getting dragged by the Hulkbuster hand.
Yeah.
And he's getting dragged along the dome,
That's
and it's
fucking
just
great.
like you see him just start getting chewed away.
Yeah.
Such a great movie. I always imagine my anger issues. You know that wide shot of like all of them running towards the fight. Like that's my anger issues in one fucking picture.
Well, that's one of my that one shot of all of them running, and then Cap and T'Challa just blowing past everybody like ahead, and they just dive in first before everybody. I fucking loved it. But yeah, no, I love the movie.
There's no bad part.
We could talk for 9 hours about
All right,
it.
so number 2.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
I never saw it.
I saw it.
I saw it. It's really
just
good.
me.
I liked
So-
it. It's one of the 4 movies I saw this week.
Stop. And you liked it?
I liked it. I did like it. The first half was kind of slow to me. Look, I'm gonna say something, and I know it's very people
hold
fucking
on
don't
to your
like.
titties.
I am not the biggest.
You're
fan
not a
of-
Queen fan?
I'm not a fan of Queen. Here's the thing: I just don't know their music.
Right.
So the first,
But in watching the movie, you didn't be like, "Oh, that's a Queen song."
after the first half of the movie, I was like, I don't. Okay. Even when they sang Bohemian Rhapsody, I was like, I don't. Right, so we took a break. I was watching this movie, and we right up to the point where they wrote Bohemian Rhapsody. Right, they're in a cabin or the woods, where the fuck they are. And then I go outside. My wife and I are watching the movie. I go outside, and we're having a snack or something, and I'm singing the song over and over again. It's fucking stuck in my head. It's an earworm, right? I'm like, fuck, the song's stuck in my head. And she goes, yeah, it's a great song, so I don't see what the problem is. And I said, is it though? And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. And then I thought to myself, no, I'm actually asking a question here. It's very catchy, that's for sure.
Are you talking about the song Bohemian
The
Rhapsody?
song Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm like, it's very catchy, that's for sure. But I was like, I don't understand what they're saying. I don't know what the song is about. Like, you could ask me the words of the song, and I really could quote you back the opera part of it. And even then, I don't know what the fuck that means. So it's very catchy. Super catchy, but I don't know if it's a good song because I don't know what the fuck they're saying, talking about. So I don't really know. And then we had just watched the movie, so my wife goes, "Oh, this is like he's having the inner struggle with his AIDS." And I go, "No, but this is before he got AIDS. This song came out clearly before he got AIDS. AIDS wasn't even a thing. AIDS wasn't even a thing into the 80s, and even when it was a thing, they didn't know it was a thing into the late 80s."
Right?
So,
Yeah. He didn't. So
I think this was him fighting with his homosexuality, which would make sense.
Right.
But I don't know that for a fact. I'm just taking social cues or context cues from the movie while I'm watching it, while he's fighting his
you did mention this to me, and there's a Wikipedia article that breaks down this song like but in 30-second increments. So if you're interested, I don't think
I wasn't.
Right.
I just wasn't. So anyway, so my point is, up into this part of the movie, the only song that I knew of theirs was Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was like, and then I started questioning whether I liked the song or whether it's just catchy. And there's two differences. And then the rest of the movie, when they started playing other songs that I know, I'm like, oh, they wrote another one Bicep does? Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, they wrote We Are the Champion? Oh, yeah, I know that one. And so it was like 3 other songs after that I was like, okay. And then I started getting into it more. But the first half, I just thought was dragged down a little bit too much. And but the second half, I thought was great. The historical inaccuracies are plentiful.
It's bad.
They take liberties.
And then some. So
But I did like what they did for cinematic purposes. Not being a Queen fan, I love the movie because I didn't know any better.
Right.
After the movie, like I do with everything that we've already talked about, I go back and research it a little bit and go, oof, Jesus Christ, that was so
So
the guy who wrote Saving Mr. Banks wrote Bohemian Rhapsody.
I saw this movie, I want to say last Thursday. If I wouldn't have grown up being a Queen fan and knowing so much about what happened
and the band,
I would have. I liked it. Like, my overall is that I did like it. However, like the things that stuck.
We should really let her talk about it first, because
I was about to say
You're
that.
right. Go ahead.
I felt bad but you brought me into it. You did say, I'm sorry.
yeah, sure, it's my fault.
Kyle.
Sorry.
So, so Bohemian Rhapsody.
Look, and he's walking away from your.
No, I gotta put the air conditioner on. I'm fucking sweating.
No,
So
I'm joking.
I have.
Yeah, thanks.
So I have had the opposite experience of Neri. I grew up with Queen,
Right.
and other
like normal people.
Right.
no, like other. Well, I mean, we didn't have morals, but we had Queen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, so Queen to me is like the holy grail. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
say. I mean, I
Freddie Mercury just as a singer is.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's-
ridiculous to me. So the band, I think the movie got a lot of shit for being historically inaccurate, and I take issue with that for two reasons. If Brian May and Roger Taylor are okay with it, then everyone should shut the fuck up. Hold on
To counterpoint that, but
hold
yeah,
on.
go ahead.
So I feel like his wife, his ex-wife, she had no fucking problem with it either. His life partner had no problem with it either. So I think that the story, like the for one of the big things that they that the gripe was is that the Live Aid concert in the movie, it's portrayed as if it was like a reunion moment where that's not true. They had already gotten back together and they had
No,
an
they
album
never broke
out.
up.
They took a break because of his solo
Right,
career.
but they didn't like break like it wasn't the dramatic. Oh, we need to break up because we hate each other.
But
that
it
they made
works
it out.
for the fucking movie. Like that's what I'm saying is that I think that
Sure.
like, I'm definitely one of those people that if I read the book and then I watch the movie and they're different, I get mad.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand that has a lot to do with the fact that what works for a book, it's not going to work for a movie.
I'm with you there.
So, on top of the fact that I also don't think that they said a lot of people said something like that the movie focused a lot on Freddie Mercury and not the that the movie left out like the fact that he was gay, and that they kind of glazed over the whole AIDS thing.
I don't think that.
To
at all.
that,
I don't think
to
that-
that.
I think they hit. I think they.
To that, I would say two things. I think that
Adam Lambert was great.
the
Adam Lambert wasn't it?
It was. I just said he was great.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck?
I thought you were being sarcastic.
Why?
I don't know. You said it with a tone like if you were sarcastic.
I was saying to the point of the whole gay thing. I'm like, I thought he was great. I thought that was a great moment
Yeah.
where he, as a film cinematically, to show how, and again, probably not the way it happened in real life, but I love the fact that cinematically it showed him being at that truck stop or whatever. It showed how that sparked his curiosity or maybe his like for men, and I thought that was great. It
Yeah.
showed it without like having to fucking, just like in Green Book, you know what I mean?
Right.
It told you he was gay without telling you he was gay. Like,
Right.
I thought it was great.
So, yeah, and I think that
I like that. the
I
whole
think
thing.
that Freddie Mercury was a private dude. He purposely kept that side of his life private, probably half of it because of the struggle, but also I think he didn't really want to objectify Queen's legacy with his stuff. So
My favorite part, and I want to do some research and find out if this part is true, was when they were doing the
press-
interviews,
the press
when he
conference?
said, "I'm not the leader of Queen. I'm the lead singer."
Right.
I thought that was if that's really what he said. I mean, I loved it in the movie, so it
Right.
still doesn't take anything away from the fact that I loved it in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But if it did happen in real life, much fucking props, man.
Yeah.
Because I, you know what I mean. You don't hear that shit from fucking a lot of rock bands.
No, you don't.
Because a lot of rock bands, they have that lead singer mentality where they go, "Well, I'm the lead singer. That means I'm the leader." Like, no, bitch,
Yeah.
you're a position in the band. You're
Right.
not more important than the drummer or the only ones who should be more important than anybody else are the founding members. That's the ones who should be fucking more important than everybody else. But one historical inaccuracy that I thought you didn't need for the movie, like, I know you're saying, I get what you're saying, and as somebody who has often been on these podcasts, either Geek Bro or WuBro, talking about Geek More or WuBro, talking about if there's some historical inaccuracies, like the movie with The Rock and Mark Wahlberg,
Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain. The Rock's character is actually in a combination of three different people that happened, and so the things that he did are like things that three different people did. For the sake of a movie, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I don't need it to be. It works for the movie. It's
Yeah.
fine. But like the fact that they made it seem as if they got mad at him for doing a solo album. Like he wasn't the first one to do a solo album in the band.
He wasn't.
Right.
He wasn't even the second one to do a solo album.
Right.
Why
So
would-
that's what I'm saying is that the shit that the movie got for it, like I just think that it's not. Tell me that they would have portrayed him like straight and married with kids, then I could be like,
Well-
what the fuck? But for me, like it just
I
didn't.
love the fact that he loved his wife.
I
Like,
think
he
that
legitimately-
relationship was so sweet. It
It
felt
was so
so
sweet.
generic.
They never got married.
Genuine.
They never got married.
No.
Right. That's why I said relationship.
Yeah. They didn't get married in the movie either.
Oh, I know,
Just
I know.
FYI. Yeah.
So
But I love the fact that he loved her.
Yeah.
He
Like
loved-
even though he was like confused
you
and
can
Right,
see
yeah,
that
yeah, for
Rami
sure. It was real
Malek, or
love.
I don't know how to say his last name.
Rami Malek.
Malik.
Right. His I can't say.
And I'm the one I can't read.
I can't say.
I couldn't say it
There are
either.
words that I can't say, and then I invent them. But I'm not going to do that to actors. I think that his portrayal was spot on for me. Like the whole movie was great, but that last 20 minutes of Live
Fantastic.
Aid, I mean, like. I just kept thinking.
It made me Google the actual
There's a
performance.
you-
I
so there's
Googled
a
it.
YouTube-
It made me think of like have this moment where like these dudes are fucking gods among mortals. Like
Yeah.
just it was that grandiose and that fucking epic. And like I think you think like thinking back to the beginning that he was a shy kid who's trying like struggling with his relationship with his parents, struggling with his own identity.
I love that scene too.
And-
That scene with his dad, where he
And-
says, "For people to help others." Like he's like,
Yeah.
Right.
when he said those words back to his dad, he goes,
Yeah.
like that was beautiful.
That
I
was a
like,
beautiful
great.
moment, and I think that again, like not trying to be too like crunchy about it, but if you consider yourself a creator, like the goal is obviously to make good stuff, but it's also to make an impact. And like, what a fucking head trip it must be for you to start out to be some kid that joins a band, and then you're fucking live. Like I don't know what the fuck I would do in a crowd that big. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I for the whole sense.
That's what you would do in a crowd that big?
My wife does that. My wife goes, "Just go ahead and perform. I'm funny." That's it. That's where you're gonna be funny.
Funny how?
The sentiment behind the movie, I think it hit the mark and it was great, and I loved it, and it comes out next Tuesday, and we will have it in the family share.
All right, so I'll see you next Tuesday.
So bringing it back to Roger Taylor and Brian May, the first iteration of this movie with Sacha Baron Cohen did not have any reference to any of his homosexuality. Freddie dies in the middle of the movie in Act 2 of the movie, and the third act is about how the entire third act, the entire last about 40 minutes, goes on about how Queen rose above his death and how they moved on after his death. So there have been, and this movie has been back and forth for a long time, since probably I think 2010. So they kind of had to get on board with a couple of other things in order to get it made correctly, because they didn't want that. They didn't want their movie about Freddie to be accurate about Freddie.
I was shocked when I saw who directed it.
Yeah, Bryan Singer.
I was watching a movie and it said directed by Bryan Singer, and I was like, I can't watch this.
They still let him work.
What the fuck?
They still let him work.
I can't watch this movie. What the fuck is the soundtrack by R. Kelly? This isn't right.
Oh,
So
not anymore.
yeah,
That bitch is fired.
if I like I said, if I wouldn't have known the things that I knew and the things that I grew up knowing, it was such a deterrent. Like it took me out, because I was like, that's not the way this, like, that's not what,
I'm glad I'm an uncultured swine.
you know.
Because I watch this movie and I'm like, cool. Looks good to me.
That
I
being
loved
said,
it.
he is so good. He is so
He was
good,
on Ellen,
dude.
and he talked about his prep, and he worked with like a coach for the mannerism and stuff
Right.
like that. The teeth that he kept them.
Yeah.
And
he went very method.
yeah, no, he kept them. He would keep them in when he was filming, but after they wrapped, he kept them and he dipped them in gold, and he has them like on a gold plated something.
That's a little strange.
He's like, that's very Freddie Mercury. And
I mean, yes, but it's a little strange
it's not strange.
to
It's,
have teeth.
Gold teeth?
there's
He
weird.
became the character.
Oh, I know.
He was Freddie
No, but to
Mercury.
keep them in gold, that's a little creepy.
Yeah, but that's Freddie. Like that's a very
He
Freddie
should've bronzed
Mercury
them like
thing
a
to
Cuban
do. Like, correct.
With his
With
baby
the first
shoes.
baby
I love this
shoes.
movie. I don't think it
How-
missed
do-
anywhere.
Are there any people that do that still?
No, I don't think people still do that.
No.
That's a good question. We should put that up on Facebook or something and see if people still do that shit.
I regret not saving Oliver's shoes.
Anyway,
Dipping them in broth.
So that's my number
You should do
2.
that for his
how much
college
does that
graduation.
cost?
I don't know. I mean, it can't be that
Too
expensive.
much.
It can't be
That's how
that
much it
expensive if
costs.
Q and grandmas are doing it. It can't be that
do it for
expensive
his college graduation.
for the size 13s.
What's your number, Deuce?
My number 2 is Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I spoiled that for you.
That's okay.
I figured it out as I was saying,
That's
and then
okay.
I was like, "Shut
Yeah,
the
the
fuck
moment
up."
you said it, I was like, I wasn't thinking about it until now. Jesus,
Yeah,
she still
my
has picks.
bad.
My number 2 is Crazy Rich.
I haven't seen it.
It's
It's an honorable mention.
I really love it. It doesn't do anything new in the sense of like the format of a rom-com. It's the story itself, like take the fact that they're in Singapore and that they're multi-gazillionaires and all those other things, like the story itself isn't anything like crazy new, but it's the first all Asian cast in 23 years. It's an Asian director.
She hasn't seen martial arts movies.
Oh, I'm sorry. The first all Asian American film.
Right.
Excuse me. Since the Joy Luck Club.
Well, your husband bought like 47 samurai movies.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, that's what he watches to go to. That's what we fall asleep to.
Oh,
Because that's
that
what's
makes
fucking-
me so. You want to sleep over?
No, that's actually pretty perfect. Is there anything that's going to make
because
you
I'm
fall
bored.
asleep quicker?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody that's going to keep my
So-
attention.
Table.
I already know. Go ahead.
There are.
You know what? I'm gonna pee before.
There are certain this is based on a book series, and I've read all 3 books. There's certain characters in the books that like just popped out based on the actors that played them. Like Aquafina is like a baller.
Yeah, Aquafina's the best
She's
part of that
so
movie.
fucking great in this movie. Nico Santos, who plays Nick's cousin Oliver, is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't want to like go on and on about this movie because at the end of the day it's a rom-com, and there's nothing that
But it's number 2. That's
right
really high.
right, but it's high because I loved this movie. It's surprisingly relatable for being a movie about multimillionaires, for just in the sense of like family dynamic, and I think most of
But why is it so high? You're saying things like...
I'm getting.
Oh,
can
okay.
I finish?
I don't know. You're just saying...
Can I finish?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
In
finished.
as far, thank you. In as far as I think a lot of the different ethnicities kind of have the same attitude towards family. I know Hispanics are this way, Italians are this way, and the Chinese specifically have the whole like tiger mom, you don't go against your mother thing, and this really played with that dynamic because Nick, who's the main dude, moves from Singapore to New York because he kind of just wants to get away from all this, the hubbub of being in Singapore and from being raised in a very specific setting. And when he takes his girlfriend back home for his best friend's wedding, she's a Chinese-born American, which is not really looked well upon by his family. And it's the whole dynamic of like the mother and the with the son and the girlfriend, and I found that to be very relatable. And I really loved it. I don't know why. I can't really properly express why I love this movie so much. I did. I think it partially has to do with the fact that I read all the books and I loved the books. And it's pretty close to the books. There's a couple of different things here and there, but I'm really excited to see where the other 2 movies go. They get super juicy, like in as far as the side characters start to come out and become main players, and it gets very, very
Real.
yeah. And for being such an extravagant like display of extravagance, it was like surprisingly humbling and relatable. So, I loved this movie.
I love this movie too. It's an honorable mention.
It's the only movie this year that I saw in theaters multiple times.
Really?
Yes.
So,
Wait. Didn't you see Incredibles 2? Theaters multiple
I saw
times?
it twice. This movie I saw 3 times.
Didn't you see Mary Poppins Returns a couple times?
I saw it not in theaters.
You saw 1.5.
I saw half, and then the other one I may or may not have illegally streamed on the internet.
Right.
So
Whatever.
But it was kind of like I was in the theater because it was like I holding a camera. It wasn't even like a good HD version.
It was a home video.
It was a home video. Yes, it was a home video.
I think the director said that he purposely left like the music to not be in English to give the movie goer the experience of what it's like to not understand a language. I thought that was a really good move. I thought that it was funny and real, and even though that it's based around the Asian culture, it's still relatable because who doesn't have drama with their in-laws?
And people never believe me when I say this, but my great grandfather is Chinese, and it was nice. I don't really know anything.
The great grandfather from the family that raised you. From
my adoptive parents.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
My father's grandfather was Chinese.
Right.
And I don't really know anything much about them because I'm not close with my dad's family, so I don't really know anything about them. So it was nice.
I'm listening.
It was nice to kind of like get a little like touch of a very, extreme version of that for me.
Okay.
I saw it. I like the movie. It's an honorable mention. My favorite Aquafina was the best part of that
Ken
movie.
Jeong plays her dad too, and it's hilarious.
Well, what she said, that's what I was about to say. Ken Jeong, that it's him, and then like the funny part is he's like because Aquafina has like short blonde hair, and he's like, she left my beautiful daughter. She comes back Ellen DeGeneres.
Asian Ellen.
Yeah, like
Asian
and
Ellen
like he's trying to fatten up his kids because he's like you want to be skinny? Look at her. She's super skinny.
Yeah.
You want to be like that, or you want to be pretty and plump like her?
In the books, they expand on that specifically. Like all they eat is American junk food. All they eat, that family only
That's
eats
hilarious.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
So it's
But it was I liked it. It was a cool movie. It was
I
a
wish
cute
you lived in a
movie.
society that was like, man, the fatter you are, the better looking you are. Like, what?
Done.
Bow down to your suave king.
But you're not trying to kill them.
No.
So
with cholesterol.
Right.
With cholesterol. All right. So
Jeffrey?
My number 2 is A Quiet Place. Table.
Yes. Really? Oh. Interesting.
My number 2 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it is.
What a fucking plot twist! I totally was banking on you making it your number 1.
No.
Wow.
I didn't get around to this. I was supposed to see this like 3 weeks ago.
Oh. really
It's
good.
probably the greatest superhero movie of all time.
I got a migraine at dinner, and I went home. I had to go home. I couldn't deal with it.
You just can't.
No, I was in a lot of pain.
No, I know. I was trying to make it happier.
Yeah. So I'm sad I didn't get
It's
to
a
see this, though.
fantastic movie.
Yes.
I talked about this on the previous episode, picks 10 through 6. I've talked about this multiple times throughout Geekmore and throughout WuBro throughout the years. I am not a Spider-Man fan. I don't like Spider-Man. There are movies of his that I've liked. I like The Amazing Spider-Man. There are incarnations of him cinematically that I've liked. I like the 90s cartoon series. I liked some things about, but I am not a fan of the comics. I've read the comics and I don't relate to this guy at all. People like him because he's a lovable loser or whatever. Of Peter Parker. I don't give a fuck. I don't like.
I've never connected with him.
I've never
either.
connected with him. Don't like the powers. None of it. This movie is fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
Everything from the fucking
Music.
soundtrack
Yep.
to
The characters.
the way the story is interwoven. I mean, you got something as cool as Spider-Man Noir mixing together with Spider-Pig.
Voiced by Nick Cage.
Yes, voiced by Nick Cage, and then you got Spider-Pig.
John Mulaney.
I've said this to Missy.
John Mulaney, Spider-Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this movie before. I told this to Missy before she saw the movie. Before I fucking basically forced her and pried her eyelids open, like fucking watch it, like Clockwork Orange style.
Or Bird Box.
But I did this. I believe that greatest superhero movie. I think but it's the greatest Stan Lee cameo. It's my favorite Stan Lee cameo. I'll say that. It's my favorite.
Oh,
Stan Lee
David told me
cameo.
about it.
It's so simple and pure and just right? And I'm like, oh no, we're not gonna get to see another one. It gets so like it's sad. And
What is his? Is this officially the last one?
no,
Or-
because I'm sure there's one in
No, he
Infinity
filmed
War.
his Endgame one.
Yeah,
already.
his Endgame one. I'm sure.
And
there's
is there
one for-
anything beyond that, or
I think that's it. I think Endgame's his last one,
Okay.
which is
which makes
Yeah.
sense.
Or maybe Marvel Girl. Well, if Endgame comes out afterwards, so
Captain Marvel.
yeah, Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
Marvel girl.
Well, in the comics, she was Marvel Girl, and then she went to Captain Marvel,
Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel, right? So, anyway, this movie's fantastic, man. Everything about this movie.
Yeah.
I wanted to start getting back into. I'm not a big Marvel comics guy. I'm more of a DC comics guy as far as the comic books. And I wanted to get back into Marvel comics just to read Miles Morales,
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Like that's how much this. Like I'm not even exaggerating. I thought, man, maybe I should get like a Miles Morales Spider-Man logo tattooed. I'm fucking like this movie is that fucking. It was. My son was not into this movie. My daughter was. My son was
my
not.
son
My,
loved
my
this
son
movie.
wasn't into the movie, so he lost interest in about like 30 minutes. And we were in North Carolina in a movie theater, and I just gave him my phone. I'm like, he was watching YouTube videos in a fucking movie theater. I'm like, just put the fucking volume down so only you could hear it, and I don't give a fuck. Like, I was not gonna leave this fucking movie.
Right.
I was like, I don't give a fuck, kid. You're gonna deal with this shit because I'm watching the rest of this movie, and I fucking love this movie. We left there, and it was New Christmas Eve, and my wife was like, "How was the movie?" I go, "Fucking great. We gotta go back and see it again." And then we went back to go see it with her cousins, but then her cousins were like, "Well, I don't really wanna." So I didn't want to be that guy dragging them. So they're like, I was like, "Well, I'll watch whatever you want to watch," and they were like, "Bumblebee." I'm like, "All right, whatever, I guess." And then same thing happened with Missy. I was like, "Let's go watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse." She's like, "Okay," and I was like, "I guess we'll go watch Mary Poppins," and I regretted it. That was my decision. I agree.
Just keep saying that shit over and over again.
I tried watching it on the streaming site, and it's only a cam version,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the sound. I don't mind a cam version just to like get the thing.
No, you
No,
but
you can't do
the
that.
sound was terrible.
That's one that you
it's
need
not
to
even the
wait.
sound. You have to visually. You have
Yeah.
to see it. It was my number 3.
It's a visual comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
visual
I got
comic
that
book.
from the trailer. Like I said, I really wanted to see this, and I was just unfortunate that I happened to have gotten a
I
migraine
had
right
no
before.
intention to see this movie until Neri started hyping it up.
Yeah. It was.
I even told her, I go, I think I might be. I told her, I go, I might. I'm afraid that I'm overhyping it, and then I go, nope.
yeah.
I'm confident.
Yeah, this was
You're
my number
confident it'll
3,
be her
and
cup of tea?
it's the second movie on my list with the guy who played Dr. Shipley in or Shirley in Green Book, because he's the uncle.
Right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it's crazy because it's an animated movie, but there's death,
Right.
and it's not Uncle Ben, it's other people.
Yeah.
There's death. There's brutal.
Right.
There's a brutal death. You don't really see it, but there's a character that gets killed, and he's dead.
Yeah.
And and it's just the soundtrack, the visuals, you feel like you're in New York with him, and then like Nick does Peter Parker.
Jake Johnson.
Yeah.
And like,
He does.
My
he
doppelganger?
does. He does.
Jake Johnson wishes he was that handsome.
Jake
in real
Johnson
life.
does the voice of Spider-Man, like as Spider-Man, but the narration Spider-Man is Chris Pine.
Yeah.
I looked that up.
Narration, Chris.
yeah, but there's a
Peter
reason
Parker.
for that.
Right.
Because he's the original.
There's a reason
I don't
for
wanna-
that.
No, I know. I know. David told me what's going on.
Okay.
Okay.
Why would he ruin it?
Yeah,
He's such a-
'cause
I asked
he's such a ruiner of life. Listen.
He's a life ruiner.
But yeah, no, you get.
No, yeah, and then like the different Spider-Men and women
Yeah.
and animals that come
Gwen
in.
Stacy, I've never
Gwen
been a
Stacy's awesome
fan.
in this.
I've never been a fan of Spider Gwen.
It's So-So from Orange Is the New Black.
I've never been a fan of Spider Gwen in the comics. I thought it was just like you clearly just this is a money grab.
Mm-hmm.
You're just fucking going because Gwen Stacy was a popular character in the Amazing Spider-Man
Yeah.
movies,
And you killed her.
and you killed her. So now you want to bring her back in the comics. This is a money grab. So I've never been a fan of hers. I've never read a comic, but I've never been a fan of just the idea. I'm like, this is clearly just a money grab. But in this movie, she was fantastic.
Yeah.
I just love everything about this
Yeah.
movie. It's so great, man. I got so choked up, man, when he had that scene with his dad through the door.
Oh yeah.
When you
yeah.
said you have a spark, and I wish you could just see his dad talking to him through the door, and he couldn't speak. He physically couldn't speak because he had webbing all over his face and he was
Yeah.
tied up, and that feeling
Yeah.
that he had. And then I love that scene where he had with Jake. Was it Jake?
Jake Johnson?
Where he says, where he goes, "How would I know I'm ready?" He goes, "You won't. It's just a leap. That's
Yeah.
all it is, man. It's a leap of faith." And I was like,
And then and then this is the second movie where you joked about Like people like to modify their shit.
But yeah,
Because of Black Manta.
But I was like, look, Peter. I was like, he modifies one of Peter Parker's suits. Miles Morales modifies one of Peter Parker's suits by painting it black. I was
Yeah.
like,
There's a theme here.
I was like, what do him and Black Manta have in common?
Black.
Aside from the fact that they both like to modify suits and paint them black with spray paint.
Painting black.
Jesus.
Yeah. But no, everybody needs to watch that movie.
Yeah.
All right, so that's your. So what are we gonna do? Honorable mentions.
Sure. Honorable mentions.
Missy.
Adrift. Red Sparrow. Bad Times at El Royale.
That was a dope
Great.
movie.
That was great. That
I
was a
haven't
dope
seen it
movie.
yet.
It's
Such
so
a
good.
fucking
I wanted
good
to see
movie.
it and I just didn't get around to it.
Such a
fucking
fun.
good.
I don't remember the last time that I saw a movie that legitimately made me go, oh
Yep.
shit, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like multiple times in that
Cool.
movie, I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, it was very stylized and very cool.
And
It's by the Cabin in the Woods people, right?
it's one
Is
of
it?
the
Yeah.
I think so.
It's one of the
I love
few
Cabin in the
times
Woods.
I
So.
don't.
where trailer didn't tell
We
me
know.
what the fuck the movie was about, and I was like, it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, also Chris Hemsworth,
I mean, yes.
In the rain.
Yes.
just saying,
With an open shirt.
he has some character flaws.
Sure, Jen.
I'm not denying that,
No, hey, come
but
on.
he's still fucking hot. One thing has nothing to do with the other.
Of course,
correct.
of course.
I'm done.
All right.
Okay. I have a lot of honorable mentions. I saw over 40 movies this year, and I think that's the most I've ever seen in a year. But
This year, in 2019, I'm gonna count them. I'm gonna count how many movies I've
Well,
seen.
I'm already at one.
so
I'm at 4 this week.
But of 2019
I haven't seen anything in
movies?
2019.
Yeah,
yet.
but I still saw them in 2019.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So Infinity War, Quiet Place, Incredibles 2, Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8.
I loved Ocean's 8.
God.
I loved Ocean's 8. Whatever.
Well,
I
now
don't give
who's
a
a
fuck.
strong
You're
female
so-
niche?
you're
I don't give a
no,
fuck. I don't give a fuck. To all the boys I've loved
I liked
before.
Ocean's 11 too.
Crazy.
I loved Ocean's 11.
But you didn't
I
like,
know. That's why you're saying Ocean's
But-
8 because it's the same movie.
But you didn't like Aquaman? What the fuck? Jesus.
I loved Ocean's 8. I
Weirdo.
don't want me to tell you.
All right.
God.
Your story checks out.
My list, goddammit.
I got okay. So I have Crazy Rich Asians. I have Isle of Dogs, which I think I'm the only one that saw it.
Oh, yeah.
I usually don't like Wes Anderson movies, and I really like this movie. It was actually in my top 10 up until I saw Teen Titans. Mandy,
First Man.
the Nicolas Cage movie, Mandy, the horror movie. It's weird as fuck, which is why it didn't make my top 10, but I somehow enjoyed it. It's really fucking weird, but I fucking enjoyed it. Searching, which is
the one with Harold.
Harold, yeah, from Harold and Kumar. I really dug how that movie was and everything. Black Panther and Tag.
Oh, I did like
fucking
Tag.
I like
love
Tag.
Tag.
Yeah,
I
Tag was
like
cool.
Tag.
The epitome of boy humor. I fucking love that movie so much.
Are we also gonna do the one movie that?
Sure. Once I get through my
I'm
honorable
sorry.
mentions.
I'm sorry.
Jesus. All right, so we're gonna do my honorable mentions are. I'm just gonna mention movies that we haven't talked about already, either on your list or on your honorable mentions list. So Deadpool 2, Upgrade.
Upgrade was dope.
Upgrade was great. I fucking love that movie, man. It was on my top 10 for a while. Outlaw King, which again I fucking loved. What's my fucking name? Yes. And so if you love Braveheart, you'll love Outlaw King. It's on Netflix original. And the one that got knocked out of my number 10 is Creed 2.
Told you, called it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bam.
I'm
I'm
really
not-
surprised that
surprised me.
Rampage and Skyscraper were nowhere on your list.
Yeah, because
I
I'm not the
mean-
biggest fan of Rampage. Skyscraper I liked a lot.
Rampage was great.
I'm not saying it was fun.
it was stupid fun.
I would give you fun. I think the
But in
monkey should have died.
Skyscraper, really, and in
The monkey
Skyscraper,
should have died, yeah.
when
The
he-
monkey should have fucking died.
when
That's my
he-
problem.
Okay, and in Skyscraper, when he uses his fucking amputated leg to fucking stop the door on
Pure
the road, that's
titanium.
advanced technology.
Pure titanium.
You hate
Oh
disabled
my
people? Is that what you're
God.
saying right now?
Yes, that's
First
what
of all,
That's
yeah.
realistic.
No, it's not about realistic. It's about what makes a better movie. Obviously, I'm not saying the monkey should have never been in the movie Rampage. I'm saying the monkey
Well,
should
then the
have
movie
died.
doesn't fucking work if
Yes,
there's no.
in the words
If
of
the monkey dies at the end, it works. He
in-
gave his life to save the humans. It works.
Oh, you don't like happy endings?
in the
either?
I
word-
don't like that kind of happy ending.
in the words of the monkey.
I like the yeah.
Middle finger for everybody.
I like
in
the happy ending.
Also, I think he's a gorilla, not a monkey.
Yeah, you're right. He's an ape.
I'm just
He's an
I think the
responding
ape
to
should have died. I think that I don't like that little title and not little. And then all of a sudden, like the people aren't afraid of this giant ape. Like he's like as they're panning out, the ape is fucking helping people off of fucking. Like he's holding out his paw, and people are just going, sure, giant ape. That's
Sure,
fucking
King Kong. Let me crawl into your hand.
Let me just go into your hand so you can let me down. I have complete faith in you.
It's a movie where there's a fucking gator the size of Texas.
That was really cool though. That gator was really fucking
and of course
cool.
it's from Florida.
Of course.
I'm like,
But
yay.
I thought the animal was great. I think it's a little bit what's his name in this movie where he's like the little whirly bird. I'm like, really?
Question.
You're that much of a cowboy? You call it a fucking whirly bird? You're an FBI agent. Calm the fuck down.
Back to Creed 2. What did
2.
you bump? What like
Smallfoot.
Smallfoot.
Really? It was your 10?
That was my number 10. Creed 2 was my number 10.
That was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was great.
It was a
Mary
really-
will buy it. Don't worry.
I know.
Fact. It was a really good movie. I saw Creed again this week, twice. This week and not this week, last week I saw Creed twice. No, once this week when you guys were recording Ma'am. I was watching Creed and I want to go
love
back.
that movie.
I wanted to go back to see Creed 2 because I only saw it once. But it just didn't grab me like Creed, the original Creed did. But it was really good.
It was
Not
really
saying
good.
anything bad about it. But that's my honorable mentions. So what is a movie that you guys, before we get to our number ones, what's a movie that you guys quickly because we're running late now. What's a movie that you guys like that nobody else did, that got critically panned, or that nobody else seems to like?
I Feel Pretty.
Your story checks out.
You should, but what about the movie?
I think you should give it a chance.
I don't even ever
did you buy
heard of
it?
So I don't know.
Yeah,
what
it's
it is.
in. Huh?
I've never even heard of that.
It's the
movie.
one where Amy Schumer.
It's a movie
where
where
Oh,
Amy-
pass.
That's why I said give it a chance because I know the room. Yeah, just give it a chance. It's about body dysmorphia and
Can we just watch Shadow
Did it-
How? Isn't it the same
Wouldn't it
movie?
wouldn't it have been
No.
easier for her to do one about comedy dysmorphia? Since she's really good at that.
you asked me a question and I fucking answered it.
Stephanie?
Next,
The Spy Who Dumped Me.
that's a
I
great
thought it was
fucking
hilarious. It
movie.
was a fun summer movie.
He hates it.
I know.
with
I
a
legit-
violent passion.
I legit think
it
that's
was a
one of
fun
the worst
summer
movies I've
movie.
seen in I don't remember
I
the last
loved
time
it.
I
I
watched
thought it was hilarious.
I don't remember the last time I watched a movie that I was like, man, this movie sucks. And then the next week I saw Rough Night. I'm like, oh fuck. Jesus. It's so
I
bad.
liked it. It was a fun summer movie, and I love Mila Kunis and
Maybe because I saw it in
Kate
the fall.
McKinnon and,
Maybe because I saw it in the fall, I just
and,
didn't like it.
and Sam Heughan is in it, which is always a plus. But I thought it was great.
I wasn't crazy about him.
I thought it was great.
All right.
Because I knew exactly what I was getting, and even though it's a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, I love the Death Wish movie, the Bruce Willis one.
You know, I like that
Dave liked
movie
it.
except for Bruce Willis. But the movie itself,
Is he the
it was
main
a good
character?
movie. No, yes, yes. That's what bothered me. Everybody else in that movie was like there to
The
fucking.
idea of the movie and everybody in that movie, it's a Death Wish movie. It's not going to be a fucking Oscar-winning film. But people were still like, this movie sucks. I'm like, it's not. You go into it knowing it's Death Wish. It's a fucking paquete movie.
Like
No,
Rampage and
didn't-
Skyscraper.
I didn't have a problem, just like Skyscraper Rampage. I didn't have a problem with the paqueteness of it. I had
Sorry.
a problem with the Bruce Willis's portrayal of that movie. Like he phoned it in, man, and everybody else did fucking. I think the movie would have been so much
And the
better.
kills were brutal.
The kills were brutal. Well,
The car one.
The car one was but I just and Halloween is another honorable mention for me. But
Did it get panned, though?
You already got talked about.
Oh,
No,
you
his
said honorable mention.
not as a-
I just I don't know, man. I wanted to like that movie and I didn't like it. I just didn't love it, but it was all because of Bruce Willis, and I just feel bad saying that because I'm being a huge fan of his. So
So what about you?
by the way, on this list of the 20 worst movies of 2018, Death Wish is number 16.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I figured. It has
So-
a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Your story checks out.
My pick is Happy Time Murders.
my God.
I know.
I fucking like that movie. It's exactly what the trailer gives you.
It
The
is,
trailer
it
gives
is.
you
100%.
puppets that are dirty and having sex, and that's exactly and they.
So Avenue Q without music?
Yeah, it's.
I don't know. Do you see purple Muppet vag hair in Avenue Q?
I mean, there's
Do you
Muppet
see-
sex in Avenue Q.
Yeah, but do you see the cum? Do
Yeah,
you
but
see
there's
the
no
jizz?
cum. There's no cum like
No,
and
I
you don't
mean-
see the
There's
vag.
glorious cum in this one.
And there's-
Oh,
and there's-
bro, I fell asleep
Vag.
on that couch and I woke up exactly when the lady is spreading her legs
She's
a la
doing the
Basic
fucking
Instinct.
Basic Instinct.
And it's purple pubes. And I'm like, what? What? What is this?
We had similar experiences, but with different movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
Don't
that's
worry,
mine.
you'll know soon.
okay.
You'll know very soon.
Number one.
Okay. My number one is A Star is Born.
My number 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we're just wait for it. A Star is Born is one of those movies where I saw the trailer and I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I instantly knew that I would like it. I was gonna be crushed if I didn't, and I fucking loved it. I thought Bradley Cooper was amazing in this movie, better than Lady Gaga for sure. But I feel like
Wait. You're saying a real actor is better than
she's acted before and she's won Golden Globes before. Relax, she's talented.
What does she want to go to Globe for?
For American Horror Story.
Yeah, because she was the countess.
I don't know these words. I don't know this show, so I don't. follow.
I thought Lady Gaga was good in it too. She it was the only thing that I didn't like about the movie, and literally the only thing I didn't like was that her character, when she does get the record label, they take her in a very
Can we put a pin in that? Because I have a. I don't want to start bashing it now, so I want to.
No, let me finish my train of thought. I'm gonna forget.
All right.
That the only thing I didn't like was that when she does get her record deal, that her character's like whatever pop star, it was too fucking close to Lady Gaga in my opinion.
Okay.
I would have preferred for her to stay in like that
folksy or something.
what the fuck they were doing the whole time before she like.
But I don't think that would have caused conflict between her and Jackson.
I think the conflict would have been there anyway because he was an addict and he kills himself. Like that's.
Oh, cool. So now I know what happens.
Listen, every iteration of The Star is Born ends the exact same way.
Cool.
Okay, he didn't know that still.
Yeah, we're not Dave. What are we watching? 1937? Like we're not watching any of these other movies.
The other ones were the
1967.
The Streisand was in the 70s.
Yeah,
you
we're
saved
not
me the
watching these
trouble now.
movies.
I'm
We're not
sorry,
watching that.
but I know you
he's
didn't
not
like it,
Dave.
so I
I've
also don't
seen them
care.
all.
Because
I
you're
haven't seen
married
the
to Dave.
No,
Yeah.
I saw the first two when I was in high
Well,
school.
speaking
When you
of
were
that,
with Dave.
No,
speaking of that,
before him.
hold on. Speaking of that, I haven't seen the other versions of A Star Is
So
Born.
he kills himself. There's a running theme because so did I. I wanted to kill myself.
You're fucking. You didn't even give it a chance. You just fucking went to sleep,
I made it. Hey, excuse me.
and you're
How far did you
tired
get in?
all the time,
An hour
Jeff.
and 15 minutes, and then my body was like, "You're done."
No, because you could fucking fall asleep in the middle of
In my
traffic.
defense, I did wake up to see him piss his pants, and then I fell back asleep
Right.
again.
Well, so about the other versions, I hadn't seen them. I still haven't seen them, and I purposely did not see them because I didn't want to watch this movie and like in the back of my mind comparing it to the
Right.
other versions. And I'm glad I didn't because I think as a standalone movie, it's great. I'm excited to see like what comes with the Oscar buzz. And I thought the music was fucking great to me, honestly. And I know it's stupid, but I'll just like that's my feeling. But I think that minus the drug addiction and the suicide, I feel like it's the perfect love story for me. In my like, I guess if we're gonna believe in fairy tales, that
Right.
would be what it would look like. Again, minus the drug addiction
Right.
and the suicide.
It's kind of
I
hard though
mean,
to take that.
it doesn't-
It's like those people that go, Romeo and Juliet is the most beautiful love story
If they
ever told.
hadn't
I'm like,
died.
if it wasn't for the drug and the
Right.
fucking
That's why I'm
murder,
telling
suicide,
you, we're believing in fairy tales.
I mean, I saw the first one I saw was the Streisand one when I was like a sophomore in high school, and then I saw the Judy one like a year later. They all are more or less the same storyline. production. Things, the actual details are different. The only one, the one that's music based is the one with Barbara. The one with Judy is she's wanting to be an actress, but they all basically do the same thing. For me, what really I loved about this movie was the writing. I thought the script and the writing and the dialogue in this were great. I felt like when they were having conversations, the conversations were natural. Like if you and I were speaking, like I don't feel like there are a lot of times where
they didn't interrupt themselves as much.
I know that when I met Christy, I was like, why are they making fun of your nose? Let me rub your nose.
that was so relatable to me.
Really?
I hate my nose.
No.
Oh, but and you let creepy men that you've just met rub your nose?
No, I've never let anybody touch my nose.
You mean
but
super celebrities?
Rub your nose.
Super celebrities?
Yeah, it was. There's a difference between like Joe Schmo, like on Tinder, who wants to do it. It fucking
Ed Sheeran comes over and touches their nose. I mean, he's gonna need both hands, but still.
Level creeper 9,000.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
Excuse me. Oh, let me see your eyebrows.
If it
2 minutes after meeting her, hey, let me see your eyebrows.
But this is the whole conversation that we've had.
You
this
didn't
is the
like
whole
the movie.
conversation that we've had on WuBro before. That if it depends who's doing those things, it's creepy depending who it's coming from. If it's coming
How
from
I Met Your Mother, man. This is,
the Naked Man.
Yeah, no, not the Naked Man. It's How I Met Your Mother. Is like if it's somebody you're interested in, it's super romantic. If it's not somebody you're interested in, it's fucking stalker behavior.
Exactly.
It's you.
Or if it's a multi-platinum whatever super famous dude, then sure. I mean, like so that for me is what stuck out in this movie.
What killed me about I thought both of their performances were amazing, but Bradley
Sam
Cooper
Elliott in this movie. I love him anyway. But
Bradley Cooper when he pauses for tension, when he comes out of when she goes to see him in rehab, and he's like breaking down, crying, apologizing for embarrassing her, and he has a moment where he pauses when he's trying to get it out and he can't. Kill me. And then when his brother Sam Elliott was dropping him off. The same thing when he's trying to get it out, like try to make amends or whatever, and he holds that moment of tension. Yeah. Oh, stab you in the heart.
Bradley Cooper's a great actor. I mean, I know he got his start off in dick comedies, but like he was a
dick in
Wedding Crashers. The first thing I ever saw him in, because I didn't see the summer camp one. The fuck, What Hot American Summer. I didn't see that.
Oh, that's so fucking good.
I don't like that movie.
I love that movie.
But anyway,
I love that movie.
But I didn't see that. I didn't see that until like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But he's an actor studio student, so he has his master's degree from Actor Studio. So I love him anyway. I really don't think I've ever seen him in something that I didn't like him in. I may not have liked the movie, but he was great. He's good.
And it's his dog in the movie. That's his dog.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's a Labradoodle. That's really cute.
Okay.
Do you want to go first for me?
Well, I'll go first because I've actually seen the whole movie.
Okay.
You haven't finished seeing the movie.
Yeah, I know.
Well, now he doesn't have to.
And I have. Yeah, I know. And I have comments still.
I will say this. I think the movie is so beautiful.
Are you for real?
I'm being serious.
Okay.
The movie is so beautiful.
But
I fucking hate it. I hated what it did to me watching this movie. You don't understand. I thought, I'm with you. This was such a perfect romance. This is such a perfect thing. It reminded me a lot of, because it deals with alcoholism and it reminded me a lot of When a Man Loves a Woman, which is a very difficult thing to watch. Having loved ones that have gone through alcoholism, and you know what I mean. I don't drink, and it's not because of that, but I don't drink, so I can't relate to that per se personally. But I felt like their love would be able to pull them through. There's some things in the movie. I watched this movie. I didn't want to watch it because of Lady Gaga. I just don't like her face. That's very superficial.
Legit has said that 47 times.
I don't like her face. I don't like the guy who plays Kylo Ren. I don't like his face. I think he has
because he has a stupid face.
Because he has a stupid face.
I'm with you there. He has a stupid face.
I just don't like. And again, look, man. I'm a fucking fat, ugly dude. I get it. I'm not saying I'm better looking than these people. I'm not even talking about looks. I'm just talking about I don't like to look at their fucking face during a movie. I'm like, I don't want to. To me, she's not a real actress. Again, this is before I saw this movie, and I was like, all right.
So what did it do to you that you didn't like it?
Emotionally, you don't like what it did?
Let me get there. Let me get there. So then, but I'm a huge fan of Bradley Cooper. Huge fan of Bradley Cooper. the fact that he directed it, I love when actors become directors.
Yeah.
I love when artistic people branch out and do different things. One of my favorite directors is Mel Gibson. I get it. He said some awful shit. I'm not defending that.
But Clint Eastwood is another one of those that makes great movies.
Well, yes, and awful ones, but still, you gotta take all the swings. You gotta take all the shots. So it's fantastic. Like I wanted to see it because of Bradley Cooper, and because I wanted to support Bradley Cooper.
I bring up Clint Eastwood because he was originally, when this remake was going to be done, he was the director attached to this.
Right.
It was him, and then it was going to be Beyonce.
As Allie? Oh, thank God.
Well, I don't know that it would have been Allie, but that the character of the chick was
Why?
Beyonce.
She's a good actress. I don't understand.
I don't think Beyonce's a good actress.
I think she's a good actress.
The entire cast of Dreamgirls got nominated for Oscars that year, except for her.
I never saw Dreamgirls. Look, man, I gotta be honest with you.
She is a good actress.
I gotta be honest with you. As much as I love movies, the whole idea of Oscars has really been.
I understand.
The glass has been broken for me. Like that. Again, How I Met Your Mother reference, where you go
right,
and it's all very political, and I actually know this because of Adam Ruins Everything. How he got insiders and they give whatever. I don't want to go into it. I'm not going to kill the Oscars for anybody else, but so my whole point to say is I saw this movie because of Bradley Cooper. I wanted to support Bradley Cooper. I didn't want to see it because of Lady Gaga. Started watching this movie. My wife doesn't like it. She thinks it's boring. My wife thought the movie was boring. I could not disagree anymore. I was like, I thought the movie, I wasn't enthralled the entire time I was watching it. I wanted to know more. It is a slow burn. I get it. I love their love story. It upset me on an emotional level for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't know he was going to kill himself. I haven't watched any other iteration, so this was a complete shock to me. Like, he was sober and he was clean. Like, to me, I was like, why? And then the fact that I feel like this movie stuck with me for I saw this movie 2 days ago, and I lost sleep over this because I kept thinking about the characters and how they're gonna but what's Ali doing today? What's going on? I really I was in that mindset.
She's Lady Gaga.
She's Lady Gaga, yeah, exactly.
And I was just I don't understand what's happening. And so I lost sleep over thinking about these characters because I felt for these characters, because I fell in love with these characters. Everybody, not just the two main characters, the brother.
I love Sam Elliott.
That scene when he was leaving the car, that scene where you're talking about, and the words that he said where he goes, it wasn't dad I looked up to. It wasn't dad that I idolized.
It was you.
It was you.
Ugh.
And they didn't cut away.
No.
They didn't cut away. He closed the door, and Sam Elliott turns back around to face the camera, but what he's doing is reversing the car. He's backing the car up, but he's looking right at the camera, and that fucking where he's choked up, I was like, oh my God, this is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. It's such a beautiful moment. It bothers me so much because he killed himself, and the person who pushed him over the edge is never gonna get found out.
Right.
The person that pushed him over the edge is never gonna come clean because he's a fucking dirtbag.
Yeah.
He's never gonna. It's not like his conscience. This isn't like a Miranda situation in
Sex and the City.
In Sex and the City, where she's like, "Look, I feel bad. I kind of talked to Big the night before the wedding and kind of scared him."
Right.
That's never gonna happen in this situation. He's a fucking dirtbag from the moment I saw him. I was like, "Fuck you, dirtbag. Leave them alone. They have a good day. You fucking don't touch them. Don't touch Jack and Ali." And I got so, and I get angry thinking about it because he's never gonna get found out. He's never gonna get found out. Like the fact she's gonna die thinking that Jack didn't love her enough, or to stick around. In reality, he killed himself for her because he thought that he was doing something.
He thought he was doing her a favor.
Doing her a favor to get out of her life. and it bothers the fuck out of me. It really bothers me. That's why I hate this fucking movie, because all these emotions. I don't like fucking feeling this way when I watch a movie. I want to fucking feel good.
I don't like feeling, period.
Neither do I.
I love feeling.
There's a version of my life, like if David and I would have continued pursuing the things that we wanted to pursue and continued doing the things that we were on the path to doing for a long time, there's a version of my life that's very similar to this, because David, and I mean, he's in the next room, whatever, but he very easily, he's always had like kind of a fascination with drugs, and he's always kind of had like he's had like, you know, anger issues over the years, and so there's a part of me, there's a part of me as like a third party watching this, that, you know, if things could have gone, if the right person would have said yes,
right,
could have been my life, you know. So watching that was it was a little hard. It was a tough pill to swallow because we kind of like romanticize being famous, you know, and we don't always consider
or being an artist, I would say,
right. So we don't always consider, like, there are bad people that are gonna fuck with you, and there are bad people that are gonna take your art and manipulate it and tell you like you're only gonna be successful this way, you know. So it
hurt me so much because watching him kill himself. So he's dead physically and actually and literally, and then watching that he left her before he could fix her career because she was making shit music.
Yeah.
She was no longer a songwriter, and he tried to tell her, but it's a very delicate situation to tell somebody. He tried to tell her on a couple occasions, you know, when you find yourself again, when you find yourself writing again, when you find yourself being you again, and so that fucking guy, the fucking producer, killed essentially two fucking people. He killed Jax literally, right? And he killed her artistically. And it fucking angers me that this guy is never gonna get found out. It bothers the fuck out of me.
Well, yeah.
I can't.
But
I couldn't put this on my top 10 because I was like, fuck you, man. Like, it bothers the fuck out of me, dude. Fuck you, dirtbag.
But bad people get away with this kinds of shit.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not realistic. I'm saying I don't want this as a movie. I don't want to fucking watch this.
But to that, I was saying,
I'm not in the camp. Look, Jeff hates this movie. My wife didn't like it. My wife literally, the moment the movie ended, she goes, I didn't like it. I go, what? I was like, what? And then I was like, I didn't get that dramatic. I just go, what? She goes, yeah, I found it boring, to be honest with you. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, I was like baffled.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand. We were watching the same movie at the same time. How is this possible? And that doesn't happen to us normally. Normally, my wife and I are very in sync when we're both watching a movie at the same time. If we're watching separately, you know, obviously different situations happen, you know, if the kids are crying or whatever. But if we're watching the movie at the same time, we usually have the same opinion. You know, maybe one of us has a stronger opinion than the other, but we usually either we both like it, or either maybe I love it and she liked it, or maybe we both hate it, or I hate it and she kind of didn't like it. But it's like this and The Spy Who Dumped Me, we're not on the same page on this one. Like, it's so weird.
I mean, and I fell asleep. I just got so bored with it my body was like,
I thought you were gonna get bored with First Man.
I was enthralled.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be because both those movies I acknowledge their slow burns.
Yeah. My thing,
man, that love, man.
My problem with this is the two imaginary movies that are in my head are better than what I was watching. One, it being a buddy movie with her dad and all of the drivers of the limousine company, and a second of the drag queens at the beginning of the movie.
So
those two movies are the ones I want to see,
bro.
Yeah,
when they sung "Shallow,"
Neri, I cannot get through the. Listen, Fanny and Lisa. Fanny went to see it with work friends, but we had planned to see it together, and they were going because this was my movie pick for that Tuesday, and they were humoring me like they did for Rampage and Skyscraper,
like I did for Mary Poppins Returns.
Like you did for Mary Poppins Returns, although you've said repeatedly that it was your choice.
My choice, but I'm humoring you. It was my choice to humor you.
And they both told me that they went into, like, you know, kind of like, oh, we'll see what it is, and they were both fucking floored. Now, just so we can move on and not leave here at 6 a.m., the Where Is Allie Now, like how I hold that movie in my heart now is that the tragedy in that in Jack's death, besides the obvious 5 million reasons, is that because he died, she probably had no choice but to be like honor him by going back to the basics of who she really is as an artist.
Didn't even write a letter.
It's fucking brutal.
He didn't say
brutal.
goodbye. He didn't leave her a voicemail.
That's what I'm telling you.
Kills me.
But it kills you because
there doesn't in any of the other.
I don't care about any of the other versions, Stephanie. Oh, this movie. What the fuck? This isn't top 10 of 1974. What the fuck?
But I suffer. Like they're movies that I do get emotionally attached to. Everyone, all the stories that I'm ever involved in, but then there's next level shit. There's next level shit where I'm like destroyed, like, and I cried multiple times during the movie, not because it was sad, but because, like, isn't that like what I would give for somebody to be like, oh, you're a creative person, you're fucking scared, here, like just trust me, I got you. Like boohoo, fucking crying all through Shallows.
I mean, like I didn't
when
cry
they
in
got
this
married.
movie.
When you played this song for the top your Mount Rushmore, the Mount Rushmore episode of songs of 2018.
You hadn't seen the movie yet?
I hadn't seen the movie yet, so they played the song and I was like, all right, like I didn't, because I didn't have any context, and then I saw the movie and I was like, but I didn't even cry during the movie.
I didn't either.
I didn't cry
was
during
a
the movie.
fucking mess.
I cried after the movie when I thought about it. I was like, and then like I'm not even
Derek
watching the
needs
movie.
to go to therapy to get over
I don't even know what the fuck is happening.
I was shook for days too. I've been shook ever since that fucking I watched it.
I couldn't talk to you about it because I didn't want you to know that. Like I was like, but it's gonna be in our top 10, so whatever. I guess I have to wait. I went to radio the next day and I was like, so I saw a Star Is Born. They're like, oh right, awful, right? I'm like, did you guys see it? Like, no. I'm like, oh, nice, yeah. I mean,
anyway, so yes, that's my number one forever. I'm so happy that I own it, because Fanny's like, how many times are you gonna watch it? I'm like,
this movie.
once a day for the next, until I find a Jack without drug problems. So there you go.
No one's perfect.
I love even the conversation they had at the rehab where she was
just
like,
they did not fucking miss.
Well, she was like, if you want to come back, and it's like, why would you say that? And I was like,
and he pushes her hair out of the face and he's talking to her. So cute. I can't talk about a fairy tale. All right.
My number one's Christopher Robin.
That was my number 5. Yeah, that was my number. Yeah, that was my number 5.
The only movie I boohoo sobbed from beginning, not even from beginning, from the Dumbo trailer before.
Why does that fucking trailer make you cry?
I don't understand.
Dumbo's my thing with my kid, so it's just
with your kid. You had a thing with Dumbo before your kid was born. Don't give me that.
No, it was while I was pregnant.
I thought it was beforehand.
But the story hasn't changed just because you got pregnant. I'm confused.
Which is it out?
What?
She cries in Dumbo because it's a tiny creature with a large trunk. And then she cries in Christopher Robin because it's a small bear-like creature who doesn't like pants. There's a theme.
Hashtag relatable.
Hashtag relatable.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the support. So Winnie the Pooh is my favorite Disney character, like across the board. Like, I don't know if you guys remember in the late 80s, early 90s, there was like a live action Winnie the Pooh show where they were like in like the suits like from Disney. I watched that all the time. I have like very few fond memories, but watching it, I've seen every version of Winnie the Pooh. I own like the original books. Like my room as a fucking teenager was Winnie the Pooh. So like it looked like a fucking baby's nursery, but
that's cute.
So don't make it a thing.
Is it?
What'd you say?
Don't make it a thing.
Is it though?
I'm trying to be supportive.
Yeah.
She was a bitch, so now I'd shut up.
You know what the word cute means?
When I found out they were making this movie, until I found out he was kind of a garbage person, I also love Ewan McGregor, but
Ewan McGregor's a garbage person?
Yeah, kind of.
Why?
Because he had an affair on the set of Fargo and left his wife of 22 years for some girl that divorced him 6 months later.
Why is that a garbage person?
Because that makes you a garbage person.
What?
Okay,
that's a separate issue.
But that's a WuBro rant.
Yeah, that's a WuBro rant. Anyway, when I found out they were making this movie, I got emotional seeing every trailer. I got emotional. Like, there was not any point that I saw this movie that I just didn't cry. And like, but not even like a soft sobbing. Like, my kid was sitting in my lap and he looked up at me several times. He said, "Mama, you okay?" And
you're like, "Shut the fuck up."
And watch YouTube. Even no, he watched it too. He watched it with me. But David leaned over to, like, it was just seeing again, I don't really think that this story is anything new in the sense of like we lose for Disney in that respect of like as we grow up we lose our sense of who we were as a child, and you know, and the sense of family and like the whole thing. So it's in as far as like storyline, it wasn't anything.
I disagree. I think it was.
It wasn't anything. No, it was great, but it wasn't anything new. Is my point. Like,
no, I thought. So, I mean, maybe the theme wasn't new, but the way they did it was.
That's what I mean. The theme, the underlying like subtext isn't anything new, but just seeing Winnie the Pooh and seeing them like
it's kind of like the dad of Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Seeing them like as actual size, and then going into the 100-Acre Wood, and like they gave us the Tigger Bounce song, and he did
the fact that the animals weren't all in his head. I thought they were going to be all in his head. They were
they were real.
They were really alive. The fact that strangers could be like, what the fuck is a talking stuffed animal? Yeah.
So and it was so. Jim Cummings plays two. If you don't know who Jim Cummings is he's like a pretty big Disney voiceover actor, but he voices Pooh and Tigger. And his father-in-law is the original voice of Tigger. So he passed away a couple of years ago. There's a podcast called Talking Tunes with Rob Paulson, and he's had him on. It's a voiceover actor podcast, and he's had him on. He tells that story of like how he inherited those characters. But anyway, I loved this movie so much. Brad Garrett is Eeyore, and I think he was like a perfect Eeyore. I loved this movie. It was everything I wanted it to be. Like they did the Pooh exercise song. Like it was everything I wanted it to be.
Growing up as a kid, Pooh was my favorite Disney character for a long time, for a few years, during high school. And
did you have your room decorated?
No, my mom wouldn't let me. But we were poor, man. But I wasn't a huge fan. Like I didn't like. I've been the same guy for all my life, which is not. I'm not bragging. This is kind of embarrassing. Like I've been like, oh, I like that because I see the TV show. You know, they have books in that. I'm alright. Like I don't need that. I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need that. And I've done that same thing with other things that I've been a fan of. Like, you know, there's a book on that. Like that's cool. I like Wizard of Oz. I don't need to get into the
Your
books.
story
I'm like,
out.
so I don't like. And again, it's kind of embarrassing, but it's the truth. But so Winnie the Pooh, I never read the books or anything like that. But I did watch the TV show growing up as a kid, and when the storybook would open and stuff. This movie caught me totally by surprise. It's my number 5. It didn't. By any means that I think I like the other Christopher Robin movie that they made. That was a good movie too. And I think that was sad as hell too. They explored more about the author, the creator, how Winnie the Pooh got created, and they explore his PTSD from the First World War and that. So this is a bit different. It's very different, but it caught me totally off guard, and I just loved this is such a beautiful movie. I mean. You know, when Pooh asked him, he's like, did you sack me too? You know, did I get sacked? You know, did I get fired? And he's like, yeah, I guess I did. And I was like, you monster. You monster.
Damn you, Chris.
You Hufflepuff. You Hufflepuff bastard. I thought he was. I love
you,
this.
douchebag, and you Hufflepuff bastard.
Yeah, you
dirtbag. Not douche.
Yeah, I thought the movie was beautiful. I was sitting between my wife and a random strange woman,
and they're both crying.
Boo! Like I was crying, like, oh man, this is sad. They were like,
that's how I was.
But it was like this girl who was like maybe 20, 21, and then my wife next to me, like both. I'm like in between these people who are bawling, crying, and I'm like, I don't.
Well, this is awkward.
Yeah, this is awkward as shit. I was like, it's okay. Now to my wife, it's okay. Like I don't know you, lady, but calm the fuck down. Like this is. But I again, like I think. I kind of wish I would have watched it either by myself or just with one crying woman next to me. I don't really need 2 fucking bawling women next to me.
You don't need it in Dolby?
Yeah, like just like it would have been cool. Can I feel things? Can I let me feel things before you guys fucking? But it was beautiful.
I haven't gone back and watched it because
we're talking about Christopher Robin. How I saw it between you and another woman that was also bawling their eyes out.
I wasn't worried about her.
Yeah, you were next to her. I was like, I'm worried about your safety, madam.
The only reason I haven't gone back and watched it is because I know that every time I put this movie on, it's going to be like The Waterworks.
And this is my reason for putting it a 5 and not something. It's because the rewatchability, I'm not going to I'm not. This is, and again, extreme example, but just to give an example, it's Passion of the Christ.
Right.
To me, Passion of the Christ is one of the best movies cinematically made. Like technical.
Or like Schindler's List.
Schindler's List I saw 1,000 times. I'm alright with that.
I've only seen it once.
I made out with this girl. No, I'm kidding. It's a Seinfeld episode.
I don't watch Seinfeld.
But
I don't watch Seinfeld, and I know that.
But Passion of the Christ is cinematically is one of the best movies. Yeah. It's really up there with Apocalypto and Braveheart. Like it's so well made, but it's so hard to watch. I saw it one time in theaters. I own it, and I'm like, I can't go back and I own it on home video, and I can't go back and watch it again. I'm like, I'm not gonna go do that to myself. And that's that's one of the reasons why
Watch
it's
it
not
on Easter on Good Friday.
That's one of the reasons why Christopher Robin isn't higher on my list, and it's almost one of the reasons that I almost didn't make my list entirely because I was like, am I really gonna go back and watch this movie? And then I had to convince myself and say, Neri, it's a top 10 list, not a top 10 most watchable list, not rewatchable.
I will rewatch it, but I loved it. I loved it, like in my core, in my soul. I felt
motherboard.
Yeah, I felt this movie.
I'm happy for you guys.
Mainframe.
So,
Did you see
didn't
the
like
movie?
An hour of it, and then I shut it off because I couldn't.
So I'll say this.
So 2 of the number ones, Jeff just shut off.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. So I don't have. I think again. I think your reaction or your attachment to the both of you has a lot to do with nostalgia.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't have that connection to Winnie the
No,
Pooh.
not me. I really don't have that. Again, my connection to Winnie the Pooh is very superficial. It's very like, oh, I like them, but from like the
Well, then
like,
maybe it's just her.
She has I don't, like I said, I
But
didn't read the books. I don't have that. I don't know anything about them. I didn't do any research on throughout my life.
Right, but what I'm saying is that I think that. Well, then I guess it's more for you than for him. But I think that your attachment to the movie is how I feel about Mary Poppins.
That's
it's just,
fair.
It has a.
Except
it's
Christopher
weighted.
Robbins is good though.
And but
It's not though. If we want to go there, it's fucking not. It's a snooze fest.
What?
It's a snooze fest and a half. I could
Oh.
not care less.
Oh.
I was going through my phone to see who I could
You
text
have a
and
lump.
talk to.
You have a lump.
So I could
You
talk
monster.
to
you dirtbag.
I'll take it. I was gonna be cool, and then you went for it. No,
I
it was
didn't
a
go
snooze
for it.
I
fest.
I
did.
went for it.
But I was being honest.
Listen,
So was that? So am I.
I
Snooze fest. NyQuil in a movie.
I think that in theme,
Does
it's
Pooh
actually
kill himself at the end since she already spoiled that one?
Pooh kills himself. Imagine him going into the fucking house with a fucking belt, and he just closes the door.
as Tigger's like reversing in the driveway crying.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! And
It's like,
Piglet,
did you sack
Piglet's
me?
like, did he call? Piglet's like, is he here? Did you call? Go
Oh
find
my
out.
God.
Oh, it's hilarious.
That's awful.
Oh my god!
Because they straight up were like just said the ending of the Stars.
No,
Born.
they did not do anything. She did.
yeah.
I wasn't gonna say the end.
Zero fucks because I knew you didn't like it.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna watch it anyway.
When you told me you fell asleep twice.
yell
I'm
at
like,
me. Why are you
oh.
yelling at me?
FYI,
Why are you yelling at me?
Not to get off of
Okay.
Christopher Robin.
I didn't
too
pee
long, but
myself
just
while you were getting an award.
FYI, she gets.
That
she
was-
The other part I saw of the movie.
2:30 in the morning and people are still doing.
So this is another thing makes me
Yes.
laugh. I'm watching this movie and he kills himself at the end, and I'm like, she won't fucking watch Gladiator because he fucking killed himself at the
No.
end, but you want to watch this fucking movie?
No,
That's what you told me.
I've never said that.
You
I
said-
said I haven't watched it, but I know how it ends, so why waste my time?
Oh, but you're not gonna watch A Star Is Born again?
I am.
Because why? But he kills himself at the end, and you know it.
There's not a love story in Gladiator.
Yes, there is. You
Well, then there
fucking
is.
wrong.
Fine, I'll wake up and watch it tomorrow.
And Braveheart
A
has
man
a
in
massive
if I
horse.
ever leave your house.
Well, he doesn't
Man
kill,
and his horse.
He doesn't kill himself in Braveheart though.
No, he dies.
I mean, he dies, but not of his own
He
volition.
quartered himself.
He doesn't kill himself in Gladiator either.
What if your dogs eat me when I'm sleeping?
All right.
Oh shit.
Oh, Mom yelled at us.
All right. So, your number one, Jeff.
My number one is Paddington 2. I'm not
love
even
this.
kidding.
I
dead
love
serious.
this. I love that you love
What?
this so much.
Vanessa, can I have water, please?
Did you hear his number one?
Paddington.
It is.
What did your mom say?
The
Did we wake? Oh.
it is the highest rated movie in Rotten Tomatoes history. It's at 100%.
Well, there's like 1,000 movies at 100%, but okay. It's
A lot of movies
Well,
are-
with the amount of votes
Oh, okay.
for
Maybe.
it, based on the amount of votes. This movie.
I wonder if there's one guy who goes,
I was just
Negative.
thinking that.
There is one guy. There's movies all the time that are like 99% fresh,
And the guy
because
messes
the
it up.
one guy
Yeah.
messes it up because he's a douche.
I might be that person tonight.
This movie has
just for revenge.
this movie. It's an amazing kids movie. It doesn't. You don't have to see the first one to understand this one because I didn't see the first one.
first one was great. I love the first one.
And the whole premise of this one is that he wants to get his mom for her 100th birthday a pop-up book that he sees in a bookstore. He saves up money doing odd jobs for the neighborhood and stuff like that. Goes to buy the book. Somebody breaks in, and steals the book. He starts chasing after them, and he gets framed for the.
Is this the second one?
This is the second one.
Okay.
He gets framed for the theft of the book, so he goes to jail.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah,
Don't
and
spoil
he's
it.
like, but it's.
You can
he goes
ruin
to-
I'm never gonna see this.
Yeah,
I
me
am.
neither.
I'm not gonna
I
tell
don't
you.
know
who
why.
did it.
Why are you? Why?
But
I like Paddington, but I don't know. This movie just didn't appeal to me. No,
It-
But you like Christopher Robin.
I understand.
Yeah, and
I don't think you do. I don't think you're saying the words I understand. It doesn't make it
you're,
really.
you're trying to use logic with stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just didn't. No me dio. No me
Yeah,
llamó
but
la
you can
atención.
still watch the movie now, even though like somebody's rating it at their number one.
She
Don't
doesn't
you at
want to
least
cheat
speak
on the
English?
bear with another bear
But this bear has a jacket
and a hat.
and a hat.
But he's still pants.
He's still
pantsless.
pantsless.
Yeah.
Bears don't wear
What's up
pants.
with that?
apparently.
But it's just the cast of characters
'Cause they
that
have
are
fur.
around him. There's
So if you have hair on your ass, you don't need to wear pants.
Man, if you're so hairy that you don't need to wear pants, you got bigger problems than pants.
there's action, there's emotion, there's the cast, like Hugh Grant's in it.
Did you like Paddington as a child?
So Michael
No.
from Mary
I've never
Poppins.
seen anything Paddington before.
Michael's Paddington.
Michael from Mary Poppins is Paddington, which
Yeah.
blew my mind
Yeah, he
because
voices Paddington.
he's such a fucking terrible actor that
but his
Michael
voice acting
from-
might be better.
the dad from Mary
The dad
Poppins
from Mary
Returns.
Poppins,
He's the voice of Paddington.
Peter Capaldi's in it.
For both
Doctor
Paddingtons,
Who.
he was he was the first one too.
I just loved the movie. Like
I fell asleep halfway through, man.
Did you?
No, I'm
So you didn't see. So what happens is he gets.
So he wakes up. I woke
He
up
wakes
right
up.
when I woke up right when he was pissing himself.
yeah.
No, but he goes into the house,
Luckily
into
he
the
has
garage
that
with a belt,
raincoat.
and he puts his hat down on the filing cabinet.
Oh man,
The
they just
rain
find the
hat,
hat.
he puts it down.
It was just a really great movie. Like I just watched it because I was like, okay, this has had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me check it out. And I was like, wow, I really really liked this movie.
Yeah.
It was really entertaining. It was emotional. That one it got me.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
Fair
Like
enough.
it just surprised me. Like when I was like, man, I haven't really seen anything that's better than this movie this year. Like from the beginning, that was the first movie I saw in 2019.
Oh, wow.
Or 2018. That was the first movie I saw, and it stayed with me the whole time. So
Good.
yeah, I'll keep it as short and sweet as I
No,
can.
it's fine. It's-
But yeah,
I wish I could chip in more. I saw part one. I love part one. I just haven't seen part two. My number one is when I saw this movie, I said it was unequivocally the best movie I had seen in at least 10 years. And the only reason why that I'm not saying that it's not better than my number two because I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but I had that same feeling for Into the Spider-Verse. And my number one is A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
As a non-horror fan, as a non-horror movie fan,
Wow.
I watched it. It was perfect. I thought this movie was fucking amazing in every which way, shape, or form. Emily Blunt redeemed herself for what she was going to do in the future. And
She one point when she put one in the bank.
Yeah, she put one in the bank.
stored it.
And I was like, oh God, all right, thank God. Gulliver's Travel, and then now fucking Mary Poppins Returns.
Fucking
No, but I legitimately love A Quiet Place. I love everything about A Quiet Place. I don't need a part two. I don't know why they're doing a fucking sequel.
I don't know why they're doing a sequel
I
either.
thought this movie was perfect. I thought it was directed. It was written amazing. It was directed.
John Krasinski.
Yeah, he's just he's goals. He's just life goals.
Well,
to
but they're
be-
both.
No, but as a dude, to be that talented at so many different,
right.
so many different areas, as an actor, as a writer, as a director, like, and you get, dude, leave some for the rest of us, motherfucker. And you're funny. Oh, fuck you, dude. Come on, man.
One of his mentors is George Clooney
Yeah, I mean,
from when they did Leatherheads. Is that movie?
yeah,
called?
yeah.
I mean,
they
absolutely.
cast
that
him, and then
movie.
they became friends, and
But
yeah.
Leatherhead. I mean, George Clooney's
No, I know, but I didn't know. I found that out because I was watching one of the Wired autocomplete videos on YouTube.
he's I think this whole movie is fantastic. I legitimately think it's a perfect movie. Everything about it, the shots, the creature, that was great. The fact that the fact that his daughter was deaf and that all that thing.
Oh, so
that
good.
scene
Yeah,
where he was
that
like,
was-
I loved you. I've always loved you. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't. But
Yeah,
The fact with
terrible.
this movie. This
No,
was my
Jim,
number
no.
two. The fact that with this movie,
my number
I went
7.
to a theater in Miami because I saw it with Dave
with me
and
for
Steph.
this, yeah.
I went to a theater in my.
We didn't watch it together.
No, I saw it with them.
Oh.
I went to a theater in Miami and for the entirety of the movie did not hear a sound, a cell phone, nothing.
Well, because the monsters will eat you.
the quiet that was in that theater.
remember when we talked about earlier about I'm addicted to my cell phone and I look things up. This is one of the very few movies that I was like, I'm so enthralled in this movie that I'm not. And this is the only movie I would say in my top 10 that I could guarantee I didn't go through my phone throughout the entire movie. I was like, no, I'm fucking in. This is, and again, I don't like horror movies, so I watch this movie like in the daytime, like fucking 12 o'clock. And I'm like, I never know what I'm gonna get myself into.
I watched Bird Box too.
But I think this was so like it was such a great movie. And my friend makes fun of it. My friend goes, why didn't they just fucking live in the waterfall? I'm like,
I agree. Why don't they live in the waterfall?
Oh, why did she use her umbrella to fix Big Ben?
Yeah.
Oh,
because that's actually taking people's lives.
Oh, how are you
the aliens aren't taking people's lives?
No, but you gotta move shit around.
The baby would be fine by the waterfall.
I think that's the only thing. My only gripe would be, why didn't she have the baby at the waterfall? That would have been fun.
Well, she could, and it was a surprise.
It was a surprise labor.
She went into labor.
Oh, because it was. But they always planned on having it in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Well, keeping it in the box,
creepy as shit,
with the air tank.
Well,
you don't have to do that. You could have just had the baby and fucking taken it to the waterfall.
But one thing I loved about this movie that I absolutely loved is the nail on the stairs.
Yeah,
you knew what was coming.
Yeah,
for
you did.
A good 30 minutes from when you saw that nail was there.
I was like,
but like you knew it. You knew it was coming, and then that slow walk she's doing down the stairs, and you're like, oh fuck, here it is. Here it comes, and it still gets you. You know it's coming. You know it's gonna happen.
I have this thing with like watching people like injure their hands or their feet, like in the ballet one, Black Swan, when she was like pulling their cuticles. I was like, like it made me cringe. So when she steps on that nail, I'm like, oh, like I felt that. You know what I mean? Like
her giving the labor in the bath.
I was gonna say that scene of her giving birth, and then just her, like, again, Emily Blunt like kills that scene.
Yeah.
And then when he comes into the bathroom and he sees the blood and he starts more like thinking she's dead, like, I think John Krasinski, like, it's almost annoying that he's so fucking good at so many, like Jim from The Office was, do you know what I mean? Like, I
was waiting for him to look at the camera and go,
yeah, or like Dwight to show up and be like, I got it, you know. But I think, you know, and the fact that they made the daughter have, you know, the hearing disability, I think is just added a layer of complexity that they could have gone with two quote unquote regular kids that, you know, Susie and a Joe or whatever, and that's it. But the fact that they made it that much more deeper was, I think, really added to it. And again, I also don't know why we're getting a second one. I'm gonna watch it because he's directing it, so I'm in. But yeah, and horror movies are not my thing.
Last scene so perfect too.
Yeah,
when she cocks the shotgun, I'm like, oh, fucking perfect. God damn, I love
this was another movie where Emily Blunt didn't give people a choice. Well, she wasn't given a choice for Mary Poppins, but she read the script. I saw this, I think when I forget what show it is, but I saw the interview where she said that she read it and she asked him, she was like, who are you thinking about casting? And he's like, oh, I don't really know yet. And he threw out like a couple of names or whatever, and she said, can I audition? And he was like, you don't have to audition. Like, you can just. Well,
actually, the story's different.
Yeah, he wrote the part for her, but he was afraid to ask her because he didn't want to put her on the
and they
spot.
were on an airplane, and she's like, let me read the script. So he gave her the script. She read it, and by the time she landed, she's like, you're not casting anyone else. I'm doing this movie.
Yeah.
That's.
But he wrote the script. He wrote it with her in mind, but didn't want to ask her because he didn't want to put her on the spot.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when she read it, I mean, that's, you know,
like, in case your movie's shit and you like it's your spouse's movie. So
he
like,
said it at his interview on Ellen. That's pretty much what
I felt like it was Ellen.
Anyway, so that's my number one. All right, man. So thank you guys for checking us out. Super long.
Thank
I know.
you for sticking with us.
Where I gotta cut it now because if I cut it now, it'd be under 3 hours. So for this part, so thank you guys for checking us out. This is the top 10 of 2018. This is the 7th annual top 10 for 2018. Hopefully, you check out the rest of the podcast throughout the year, and then come back for next year. This time next year, we'll do the 8th annual top 10 movies. So thank you for checking us out, Jeff and Stephanie. You can check out her events planning website at
Miami Events by You with the letter U.com.
Miami Events by the letter U.com. So that's Miami Events by You.com. Thank you, Missy. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Steph. And check out my website at whatwashisname.com, ordinarysigns.com. You guys have been great. Thank you. That's how voting is done. Talk about movies, TV, geek stuff, news, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfucker.